Sorry, once again, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, good morning from wherever you are watching us. Welcome to This is True TV to 54, where we are giving you the truth and we give some truthful political discussions and the political talks. So today, we are really looking back at the Hustler government. It's 1 year down the line since the Hustler government forced themselves, and we know what has been happening for the last 12 months. So we are trying to see, where is the Hustler government headed? Are we headed in the right direction, or we are headed in the wrong direction? Having known the driver, having known the conductors, having known what has been happening, this is an election that was hotly contested, believed to have been stolen, and the will of the people subverted. And after that, has the Hustler government been able to fulfill the promises that they gave the hustlers? We've seen a lot of protest, police brutality, the rise in the high cost of living. And right now, we are having some bipartisan talks. So the question that we're going to ask ourselves today is, did the hustlers, or have the hustlers realized or anything from this government? Will this bipartisan talk be able to compensate the Kenyans that have been brutally murdered by the police? So welcome na mkaribie kwenye show, na mnaweza anza kwa ku like, comment and share and invite others so that they can also be able to join our show. So before that, I'd just like to play a short video so that people can be able to know the situation that we're having in the country, how it feels when the police decides to brutally deal with its citizens. So kila mtu aweze kukaribia. We are live.
Back. Mama Dr. Ida Betty okuberka biro ka ibedo giwelo moko amoso uno kwe uru anadwa mana ng'ado machuok kawacho AIG, you are saying that we have hired bodies, but let it go on record, Bwana IG, that one of your relatives and children, their coffins, their bodies are going to be hired from the mortuary. No nyakadonjni. Ifuo kidwong Bwana IG. Umekuwa ujinga ukiwa mkubwa. And if you are looking for me, I am going to leave Bondo. I am going to go to Kisumu, and I will go to Rangwe. Come, nitakutana na wewe, mwanamke kwa mwanaume. Katie kota wacho kama wacho so kikawache. Ano kadu uoyo ether ng'ama miyo nikeche manyuol. Anadwa wacho ni chund wuon mare.
Gachagua, I'm not gay. Okanyal miyo ni.
Thank you very much. Welcome our viewers who are joining us in this live talk show, and we welcome everyone. And as you're joining, ensure that you invite others so that they can also be able to participate. This is True TV 24, hereby where we have some truthful political discussions without fear or favor. So karibu sana Bwana Mzalendo, as we are looking at the police brutality taking a note of what has happened in the Husler government 1 year since the hotly contested elections that is believed to have been stolen and the will of people been subverted right after 12 months. Is there anything that can be counted that the Hustler government has done that can give people confidence that despite the fact that they did not vote for them, they need to give them time, or they need to believe that this is a pro-people government the way they campaigned that it is a pro-people government? Because right now, if you look at the country, just the video that I've just played, it just shows some emotions, how people are feeling within the country after sons and daughters of Kenyans have been brutally murdered, injured. Some have been left and nursing injuries. So that is the pain that the parents, the relatives, the friends and colleagues of people who lost their lives after the police decided to use excessive power to deal with citizens who were demonstrating because of the high cost of living. We can see that the cost of living has not yet dropped. It is still high and it keeps on skyrocketing each and every day. We are having bipartisan talks. We don't know if it is going to lower the cost of the living, if it is going to compensate the people who've lost their lives. And we are also seeing a government that looks confused, with each minister, most of the ministers or the cabinet secretaries not knowing their roles. So I welcome you, Mzalendo, so that you can also be able to give us your view. What do you think, or where do you think that this Hustler government is heading to? Will it manage to win the confidence of citizens, or people will keep on going on the streets each and every time? Karibu sana, na kwa wale pia wanajiunga nasi, tafadhali you can be able to share and also like and subscribe to the channel, and also invite your friends so that they can be able to join us. And you can also use the link and join us in the studio so that we can be able to discuss truthfully and boldly together. Karibu Bwana Mzalendo.
Thank you, Leo. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me loud and clear?
I can hear you loud and clear. Proceed.
Thank you once again, Leo. You've been out for a while. I welcome you back to the channel. Some of us have been wondering where you are, but welcome back to the country. I know you've been away for a trip. Now, the issue of police brutality, this is something that we have to condemn. We have spoken about it for a very long time. And mostly since I think they're about 2017, if I'm not wrong, we lost baby Samantha Pendo in the same kind of violence. We had hoped that the government or the opposition would learn from that and come up with some strong measures when it comes to people losing lives during demonstrations. Unfortunately, I must blame the government of William Ruto for using excessive force on the people. At the same time, I must blame the opposition for lack of preparedness during this kind of demonstrations and attacks to our people. So we have lost so many people. We lost since 2017. We have, especially in areas like Kisumu, in areas like estates like Nyalenda, we have lost quite a number of people. You have seen in the clips, the leaders are so annoyed. We need action. We need action or compensation, which might not be enough, to our people. But we need at least something. We need some action. We just don't need rhetorics. Rhetorics are too much. We have been talking, and no action. Our people are dying, yet politicians are talking and talking. So we need action by Monday. The lawyers who had promised that they will do something, let's see them doing something in court. It is long overdue. Since the deaths occurred, evidence have been gathered, maybe gathering dust in some office. We need this very speedy action in Azimio, so that these lawyers can move to court and this family can get at least some compensation from government, and the police who killed the victims, investigation and a probe should start immediately. I have said time and again that this is the more reason why people should get out in the streets and demonstrate in the killings of innocent Kenyans. Leo, you remember the story of George Floyd. George Floyd's story brought the country to a standstill, brought the world to a standstill. Everybody was talking about George Floyd's murder. And we took a knee in each and every spot because of police brutality. In Kenya, we are laughing about it and insulting the police. We need action. We need action. We need action-oriented leaders. These speeches are not enough. Everybody who is talking about the victims are saying that the speeches are not enough. You've been doing speeches since time immemorial. Since 2007, we have been doing speeches. We have been doing sensational speeches and no action. People in Navasha have never been compensated. Even the time when we had the best opportunity to compensate our victims, some people missed out big time, and it took a tribal twist. The Kikuyu community gained from Uru's government and Kibaki's government. They were given parcels of land. In Naivasha, the Luos who were displaced and the Luyas who were displaced from their homes are still languishing in the village. They have never been compensated to date. So even if we are looking for solutions, let's go back to 2007 and get proper solutions for our people. Thank you, Leo.
Just Zalendo, maybe before you proceed with maybe action, we know that what we need right now is action, because all these press conferences, we've been seeing them from time immemorial. Whenever something happens, we see leaders going to give some press conferences, giving some harsh words. We see people giving some threats, but we've never seen anything serious happening. To an extent that recently you had the Inspector General coming out to say that, you see, oh, these leaders, they went and hired dead bodies and nothing happened. Nobody questioned the IG. It's as if things are normal. And earlier there, you said that we need to blame the reckless police for having led to the loss of life. And you also said that we need to blame the opposition, which in this case, I hope you meant the minority. So what do you think the minority could have done to prevent these deaths? Because these are people who are on the streets demanding their rights. The people who are showing some displeasure with the government that maybe they expected, or they had much expectations on. So once they realized that they've been betrayed, things are not working the way it should be, they decided to go on the street. And most of the fatal demonstrations where we saw losing life, you'll find that the minority or the so-called opposition leaders won in these demonstrations. You saw clips of what happened in places like Nyalenda, in places like Bondo, where people are being removed from their homes. These leaders, the elected leaders, were not there. So what do you think they could have done in preparation? Because you're saying that they did not prepare adequately. So which kind of preparation do you think they should have done to avoid loss of life and ensure that even their demands, because you know the Husler government is a government that do not listen. If you talk to them politely, they don't listen. So they need fire for them to maybe at least feel that something is happening.
Thank you, Leo, for that question. Maybe I would have asked you a question to answer what you just asked me, but I would not do that. My question would be, in 2007, the solution to the violence was a truce, was peace. Raila called his troops to come down and not demonstrate, and a discussion like we are seeing now, the two factions coming to the table. Now, we should not have lost so many lives for people to come to the table to discuss. So politicians have learned this art that the only way to push an agenda is to demonstrate. So when you demonstrate, you destabilize the government and you call them to the table for negotiation. My thought is they would have just picked a phone call. They are neighbors in Karen. Somebody would have just walked into somebody's home and told them, you know what, let us have this discussion. Raila would have talked to Ruto. These politicians, they do talk, and they do talk most of the time. So to avoid a lot of deaths, which I know they knew was coming, because the government had said that they will not allow demonstrations. Raila and his troops said we are going to go on. We are protected by the constitution. But this is Africa. This is Africa. There's no head of state that respects the constitution fully. This is not somewhere in Europe. This is Africa in the 21st century, where you are killed in the streets and the person next walking by who does not even blink, they go home and have a cup of tea. So we have seen so many things happening in Africa that are not normal. Expecting that you will have a peaceful demonstrations when you have already challenged the police that come, we will show you who we are also. And you are not prepared. You're only prepared by, stones and things like that. You had uh, the wife of the opposition leader, Mama Ida, saying that next time we will be prepared with bullets and not stones. So you so that tells you a lot. That tells you a lot that they know what these demonstrations are all about. And Leo, our demonstrations are not organized. We need to have some kind of organizations in the demonstrations. We have people running around in motorcades. We have, you know, uh, demonstrations everywhere. We have demonstrations. When we have demonstrations, we don't see the kind of demonstrations that happen in South Africa, where demonstrators are identifiable. They wear a certain uniform. They walk in a line. They know that this is street A to street B will be demonstrating and picketing. That is what the law provides. So if we say that the whole of Uhuru Highway, we are going to demonstrate in Uhuru Highway, let Uhuru Highway be protected by the police. Let the businesses along Uhuru Highway be protected by the police and let nobody veer off. I think that is the biggest problem that we have in Kenya, where demonstrations are held, people are running up and down, and the police find it very, very difficult to cope with the situation. And also remember that thugs also take advantage of this kind of situation. When you
Just a
call a
minute. Sorry for interrupting you. I get you clearly that you're saying the manner in which the demonstrations were organized was not, they were not prepared. And here we are talking of the police brutality. So are police allowed to use excessive force? Because you find that in this case, these demonstrations were not organized by political parties. They are not organized by maybe some elected individuals. In this case, like most of the demonstrations you are seeing, there were people who are organizing themselves. And I think you know very well, if you get back to what happened after the 2007-2008 post-election violence, the people who were able to be named in the Ocampo, whatever, they are people who are directly or indirectly linked to the happenings, because they said that this kind of activities that took place and the violence that was seen was an organized violence with people organizing them. So do you think that if these demonstrations are organized, whereby you have like a specific leader, like the members of parliament, participating actively, organizing people, do you mean, I think it shows that at least sometime if you do them in this way, these political leaders, they fear being held responsible, because it's only a politician who's elected that can be able to organize people. But if they participate directly by organizing people, don't you think they'll be held responsible for anything that is going to happen after that? And I think that is why they leave citizens to demonstrate freely with their own methods, where by the end of the day, you will not have a single person to hold responsible. Could we blame this?
Yes, you are right. You are right, Leo. Politicians have got this attitude. Like the last demonstration, did you see any politicians out there demonstrating? No. The answer is no, because they knew what they were going to face. And remember that Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila, they have their intelligence. Uhuru still receives intelligence from government. They knew the operations of government in Kisumu. They knew what was going to happen. So reacting after people have died, yet we could have averted that, is what worries me. Because these people knew so well, they stayed at home. Leo, it saddens me to see bodies being paraded, yet we cannot find even one single leader's son killed in those demonstrations. They tell their children to stay at home during this demonstration. It is the children of the poor who are dying in this demonstration. Have you seen any rich kid dying in this demonstration? No. And let me tell you, if a leader or a senator in Azimio son died in this demonstration, you would see Ruto as the first person sending condolences in that particular.
Mr. Lendo, sorry, I'll come back to you. Welcome, Mise. And Mise, as you're joining us, I want you to start with this. I want to disagree with Mr. Lendo. Is asking us that we don't see these politicians, sons, and family leading the demonstration. You and I know very well that when this country got independence, there are those people who fought for independence. We normally talk of the famous Mau Mau. And we know very well that while the Mau Mau were in the bush, their families were resting and enjoying back at home. We know the Mau Mau people who fought, but their families were studying abroad. We talk of people like Kenneth Matiba. Did we see Matiba's sons and daughters on the street? His sons and daughters were enjoying somewhere else. Then maybe, I don't know, this is just my thought, because if you say we don't see these rich people, we don't see these leaders on the street with their family, the reason could be with them, they don't have anything worth taking them to the streets. The people who are on the street, like in the last weeks, the ones that we saw were people who are demonstrating against the rise in the cost of the living. The people who are demonstrating that they cannot be able to afford unga, they cannot be able to pay their rent, they cannot be able to pay school fee. Those are the people who are on the street. The leaders here in question, they can be able to buy unga, they can be able to pay school fee, they can be able to pay rent and even fuel their cars. So why do you think these politicians can have their children on the street yet they can afford this? It doesn't make sense for them to be on the streets. So the ones on the streets are the poor, because the poor are the ones who are aggrieved, they're the ones who are expressing their aggravation. But those people who are feeling well cannot be on the street. I think that one answers you. But before I come back to you, let me welcome Mise, so that he can also participate and partake in this and tell us where is the Husler government heading to. It is 1 year since the hotly contested elections. It was contested at the ballot, it was contested in the Supreme Court, and we've seen the protest also on the streets. So are they headed in the right direction? Do we have some hope? We've seen so many protests. We are now having some bipartisan talks. I don't know the outcome of the bipartisan talks. So do you think the Husler government is headed in the right direction, or do you think it is going to succeed, or it is bound to fail? Mise, karibu. Unmute yourself if you can hear me. Meanwhile, as Mise is unmuting himself, guys, we are live on Mutembe TV, both YouTube and Facebook. We are live on True TV 1224. We're also live on Leo TV. So you can ensure that if you've not subscribed or you've not followed or you've not liked any of these social media pages, do so that whenever we are live, you'll always be able to be notified. So if you subscribe to Mutembe, ensure that you also do the same in True TV 24 and in Leo TV, so that whenever we go live on air, you will always get notified and you join to get some true talks, you get some political discussion that is sober, irrespective of your views. Karibu Mise.
Asante sana. Thank you so much, Leo. It's good to see you. Bwana Mzalendo. Brutality. And saying that is a very bad precedence our country is taking. Line of what we have not seen this key politicians.
Can you hear me say properly, or there is a network issue?
Mise, I think you are getting disconnected. Maybe you can just maybe recheck your connection so that we can be able to hear you clearly. Maybe as you can restart, you can refresh your connection. Cornerstone, karibu sana. Unasema leo True TV 24 on YouTube. No, True TV 24 is both on YouTube and Facebook, but right now we are live on Facebook, not YouTube. YouTube, find us at Mutembe TV, and you can also find us at Mutembe TV Facebook page. But do ensure you like, subscribe, and share all those social media platforms, so that when we will not be maybe in one of them, you'll be able to get us live and clear. Stella, I'm sharing the link so that you can also be able to join the studio and you be part of this discussion. What we're discussing here, we're just discussing matters Kenya, irrespective of where you come from, irrespective of what you believe in. I know among us or among you, there are those people who believe that the Husler government is the best thing that have ever happened, and they believe that it just needs to be given some time so that it can deliver its promises. I know there are those people who held a belief that Hustler government will deliver, but now their belief, their hopes are dying, because so far what has happened has not shown them any indication that things are going to change. And I also have people who never believed in Hustler government and still don't and want to believe in Hustler government. In the same way, I have people who never believed in Hustler government but are now trying to start saying that, okay, if we can give it time, or let us now give it time, it will be able to deliver. So kila mtu amekaribishwa, unaweza jiunga nasi kwenye studio na uweze kutoa maoni yako, na pia utupe hisia zako na jinsi ilivyo mahali uko. It might be that the cost of goods are only high in places like Mombasa, but when you go to Turkana, it is not high. So that is why we need each and every one of you to come and join us. You can join us in the studio. You can also type your comment, and indeed I'll be able to read them. But before you do that, ensure that you've subscribed, you've liked, you've shared, and you've followed Mutembe TV, True TV 24, and Leo TV. Mise, I can see you're back.
Mise, I think, I don't know why Mise is frozen, or that is his new style of...
He's a worried Kenyan. He's a worried Kenyan. So
he's a worried Kenyan.
He lives in the world of worry. So, Zalendo, I gave you a question because you are telling me that you don't see the children of the politicians on the streets. And I challenge you that these people are not on the streets because their demands have been met. Their needs have been met. They don't sleep hungry. they don't have anything that can take them on the street? Or do you want to say that they should be on the streets in solidarity? Is that what you mean? So
you know, for a very long time, there's been a debate out there that the poor are the ones being used by the political class. Now, you know, when Leo you attend a funeral or you are invited to an occasion by your friends, the occasion belongs to somebody else, but you feel that you are a part of the occasion and you need to support this particular cause. There is nothing like the rich are feeling better, so they need to stay at home. Yes, there are people who, why are we on these screens each and every time? I can afford a loaf of bread. I can put some food on the table, but there's a Kenyan out there who cannot do the same. So we come here every day to talk about our politics because we have got some views that we need to share, and we need the government to hear what we are saying. If I decided to be comfortable, then some other situations will go very, very wrong. That is why we come labor each and every moment. When the Kenya Kwanza government is doing something wrong, we have to correct it. When the Azimio leader is also doing something wrong, we have to say it the way it is. So that there are people who cannot say what we are saying. And I see them coming, commenting and all that, because what we are saying, they whisper it in the night. What I'm telling you here is so many people will whisper it in the corridors and whisper it in the night. They will not come out at daytime to tell you exactly how it is. So the rich also suffer. The rich also suffer. The poor also suffer. The people who think that are feeling comfortable, they also pay taxes to this country. They also pay taxes. When taxes are increased, they're increased across board. It is increased to the poor. It is increased to the rich. So even if you are you are very, very rich, you will find yourself at least paying more taxes than you used to do in the previous government. So that is what we are saying. This thing cuts across each and everybody. It is not that you are rich and you are comfortable. It is not that your son is staying at home because you've already met all the needs that your family uh, your family needs. It means that you are protecting your children from going to the streets. I want to see a day when we will attend a funeral of a politician's son who has been killed by the police. That is the day that you'll see parliament coming into action. That is the day you'll see arrests being made by to the police who did this particular action. You saw the other day. You saw the other day the raid at Uru's farm, where some goons stole his sheep. Did you see how the leaders reacted? Did you see all of them from each and every quarter reacted to that particular situation? That is how we want to react to situations. If it was the son of the MP for Kisumu, or oops, if it was, can you guys hear me? If it was the son for the MP for Kisumu, you'd see something so different. You'd see something so different. The government today would be calling a probe to the killings that happened in Kisumu. And I have told you, this is the more reason why we should go into the streets tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow, because people have lost their life from rogue policemen who are trigger-happy police officers who killed innocent Kenyans, who used maximum force. This is a good reason to demonstrate. There's no any other better reason than this one. It is better than the cost of living. It is better than the high taxes. A loss of life is a good cause for us to demonstrate about. So I'm wondering why we are still out there giving these sensational speeches. Like Orengo, I saw him there. Orengo said the other day, you know, I can leave this work and go and represent my people. That is nonsense. Go to court tomorrow, that is Monday, and have a case against the police brutality. We don't want this kind of talks. And people are saying they are tired of talks, Leo. There are people are saying they are tired of talk and talk. If this brutality happened to a different, for example, if this brutality happened to the Maasai community, what would you think would be happening along Narok Road today? Nothing, crazy things would be happening there. There would be demonstration. The government would be doing something, but they are so used to it. Luos have been killed since 2017, since Baby Pendo, Baby Samantha Pendo, and I'll repeat that, Baby Samantha Pendo. Nothing has happened. The victims in Naivasha, nothing has happened. We moved on. Even these killings, Utaskia, we have moved on. We have moved on. We have learned to forgive each other. What nonsense is that? Justice should be done to the victims from dating back to when Baby Samantha Pendo was brutally murdered in their home in Kisumu. That's my take.
Thank you. I think that's a discussion that we cannot be able to end right now. I can see Bashir Chelengat is saying that the big man like you are just talking like that for sure. You're a big body for nothing. So, okay, everybody has got a right to give their views. Whether you don't like it, you need to be tolerant enough so that we can be able to accommodate each and everyone's view. What I've gotten from you, Zalendo, is that we should keep on going to the street so that we can protest against the police brutality. But I know Kenyans outside there will tell you, the moment we go to the street, and the same people who've been brutally affected are the same people who will always go on the street, and the same thing will happen. So do we have any surety that when you go to the street to protest against police brutality, the police will not come to brutalize us again? So that is the worry that Kenyans are having right now. Kenyans outside, they are willing to go to the street, but at the same time, they're also thinking of their lives. No, we go to the streets, yeah, we are innocently demonstrating, but this is what the police is doing to us. So are we reaching at a point whereby we see that we are now weak? There's nothing we can do. We are going to look at that as we are also looking at this Husler government. Could we say that what has happened in the last 12 months of the Husler government, is it enough for us to say that this is the signature of the Husler rule? We've seen police brutality rising. I think the people who've been killed in the previous demonstration are more than the ones who've been killed in the last two election political demonstrations. So that tells you that most people have been brutalized by police in the last few months compared to what has happened maybe in the last three years. So should we say that now this is the signature of Hustler rule? They are going to brutalize people. They are going to raise everything. They are going to tax you. They are going to shut you. So if that is the signature, then what are we supposed to do? Should we now accept and move on that, okay, let us just accept to be stepped on. We are now here. We just have to wait for some 5 years. Again, we give another 5 years. Or is there anything that we can do different? Let us see if Missy is going to give us an alternative to demonstration, or an alternative to the bipartisan talk, or what can citizens now do differently? Missy, I hope you're now okay. Demonstration, or an alternative to the bipartisan talk, or what can citizens now?
Messi, are you in Europe? Messi, are you
I
in
don't know
Europe?
why.
No, he's now okay.
Oh, this guy is now okay.
I don't know why. For some reasons,
You're now okay.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm trying to log in from a different device. But in the meantime, as it's loading up, I just want to first condemn, like I said, Mzalendo, you are on point. And Leo, thank you for giving us and directing us to the right direction. We will not be listening to people who are narrow-minded, insulting panelists who spend their time here to try and bring civic education that the government has failed to provide to our people, hence not being held up. What I want to agree with you, police brutality must be condemned by all, each and every institution, because no one has a right to terminate or at least you have to be fairly treated. If you have committed a crime or you're intending to commit a crime, then you must be arrested properly and being able to be taken through due process. But most importantly, what I wanted to have a different opinion from my brother Nick Mzalendo is that what are the triggers of what triggers police brutality? You know, I think it's important that we know that there is a physics principle that says that in every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So what is this that is leading us and our people being killed by the very same people that we woke up very early in the morning to go and elect? I mean, it's painful to learn that we woke up very early in the morning, 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning, to go and elect the government that gives orders at the end of the day for us, for our people to be killed. But at the same time, do our people have a role in this? Or is it just that they are innocently being killed? So we have to look at it. If we have to have a fair conversation, we also have to take a portion of our blame, as much as we want to also to blame the government. The government has received a lot of backlash from the public. And who are these that are triggering? Are these triggers intended for self gain? Are there a clique of people who are using the public, in using them as a bait or as a conduit of getting to power? So those are some of the things that we need to ask. We can understand what are the triggers. For example, if you call for mass mandamano, I mean, Nick, you asked a very good question. If it was the son of I think you will see a lot of politics. Interesting. It's very interesting. And Nick, you mentioned two key things that I want to try and elaborate a little bit. You say event or an instance such as what has happened, and there is funeral. The majority of the people will be given an opportunity to speak. Our politicians, they are the ones who get the chance to speak. Most of the poor people don't get the chance to speak. But so when you look at the contributions they give vis-a-vis the contributions they give due to the prominent funeral, you realize it's peanut. They will probably give 1,000 or 2,000. But if you look at if it was the funeral of a politician or someone who is prominent, you will see them signing a book, a condolence book, and giving contribution of in terms of thousands, 100,000, or even 500, 500,000. But the poor people who go to the streets don't get that. The family, some of these people are married, some of these people have children, some of these people have wives, brothers and sisters, they have parents who probably were depending on these people. But if they happen to die online of when they are demonstrating, the politicians will show up, give these fancy speeches, and leave, and give about $2,000-3,000 shillings, or 5,000 or 10,000 shillings, because you are poor. But if it was a son of a politician, a son of a prominent person, watapatiana pesa mingi. That is one thing I wanted to say. The other thing is that those who call for these demonstrations using innocence in the name of freedom, in the name of rights, in the name of expression of rights, I think we are being unfair to our people. And I think we have members of parliament who have been elected to national assemblies. We have county assemblies. We have the Senate. And this is the perfect platforms where issues that relate to legislation can be discussed. So when you see a member of parliament in the streets crying like a baby, crying or looking very helpless, like you who has no mandate to legislate, then you start asking ourselves, where did we go wrong? Why do we even have these leaders if they can come to the streets and complain from the streets just like we are? And they will tell you it's our right also to come and picket. But you do have privilege powers, privilege access to the National Assembly. Why don't you go there? Discuss, bring this debate, bring these bills so that they can be discussed in the right places before involving the mass. But when you go to parliament, you are compromised. You are given, you are bought. For example, there is this thing they say that William Ruto bought a lot of members of parliament, the senators, and so they are in his favor. So when you are bought, you are a betrayer. You betray the people who elected you. And I think the people have the mandate to recall you and say, wait a moment, we don't need you because you have failed to represent us. And I think I'm going to pause there and say, as much as we are blaming the police also, as much as we are blaming the police also find them in a very awkward position where they have order. The police work between they work on commands. Wanaambiwa amri ni mawe, na ukipewa amri lazima you have to follow it. So they find themselves in a very awkward position, but that doesn't mean they should kill people innocently. They have a responsibility. You better resign if you find that it's not working for you, and get something else to do if you feel that you are being compelled to do something that is against your
Muse, maybe before, maybe I just have a question. If you look at it in the view of an expert, as a legal expert, what has happened? You say that the police are taking some orders, which I do agree. But do you think there are some orders that are legal and some orders that are illegal? So are police allowed to be taking any order, or do they have an opportunity to turn down an illegal order? In this case, the police took an oath to protect individuals. But in this case, you saw what happened. The individuals who were brutally injured are not the ones who are demonstrating. Like you saw people demonstrating on Mombasa Road. Majorly those people who demonstrated, looted, and destroyed the properties were never shot. They were allowed to walk freely back home. But at the end of the day, all this bitterness was now taken to the innocent people who even never knew about the demonstration. For example, what happened in Kisumu in Nyalenda, the people who are being beaten by police never participated in the demonstrations. But the people who participated in the demonstrations, there are some who participated peacefully, but we saw the looters, like in Mombasa Road. We all saw those people who were vandalizing at the expressway. Police never shot at them. Nothing happened to them, only for innocent people to come and pay. So do you think it is fair, or maybe at the legal perspective, what should the parents and the relatives of the victims do? Because you've seen the politicians, what the best they could do is to mourn and feel as if they are also helpless, they are weak. I even see them, some of them were literally crying, literally down. They are saying that now we see there's nothing we can do. So which kind of hope are we going to give these people?
Well,
Miss has gone, eh?
I think Missy has been having a lot of glitches on his connection,
Can
but
you
I
hear
think
me?
he's back. Missy is back, but he's off
Can
camera.
somebody hear me? Let me play this. Oh my goodness.
Leo, can you hear me? Leo, can you hear me? Leo. Leo, what are you playing?
Zalendo, can you just let me
I'm wondering. What is that
A
you're
very
playing?
tribalist man. Mada rudi kwetu, kulikuwa na sufuria pale, watu wamevaa sufuria, tukajua ni Wajakoya Meru.
I think, can you hear me? Leo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now hear you. I think it was some network problem. Zalendo, let me just refresh it. You can proceed. Those are the kind of what the leaders can do after the police brutality. You can see they are the ones who are now wailing. They're not even offering some solution. So Mise is back. I think he can now be clear and give us way forward as a legal expert. What can the victims do? Then I can also see Odumani, karibu sana, na uweze kujiunga nasi. So Misa, you can proceed. Just a minute, I refresh my.
Niendelee au namna gani?
I think he was refreshing, so we were waiting for to hear from him refreshing. But I think I heard what the question was. I can go ahead and respond to the question. I think our leaders needs to be held accountable. They have set very bad precedents. When you find a man so educated, such as Wajakoya, saying, I think, Nick, you can translate this for me. I don't speak that language, but I do know that every tribe in Kenya does know the little Matusi, the other tribes. I think when a leader like a caliber of an educated, very educated, akosijui na degree ngapi, and then stands before a podium and make some silly comments. What are you teaching the people who are looking up to you? when you use language such as chieth, I don't know chieth, but I think chieth means shonde in Swahili. So I think that is the highest responsibility of our leaders, and they set very bad precedents to people who admire them, people who look up to them. When Wajakoya trivializes things such as, oh, polisi wanaenda kushoot baba anakuwa nyang'au. This is very this is very unexpected of our leaders, and a rotten society where people and our leaders who are our mouthpiece, who are supposed to speak on our behalf, are the ones who are actually leading by example violence. They are saying that we live in a lawlessness society, and you can say anything. When a leader says, I am going to Rangwe and kuja unipate pale, those are threats. What are you telling the public? You're telling the public that we can fight against the government. The police are saying, oh, Wajakoya amesema hivyo, ngoja tutamuona. So when we meet, Wajakoya akona bulletproof vehicle, Raila akona bulletproof vehicle, Ruto akona they have security around them. But mimi ambaye ninaenda pale kudemonstrate, I don't even have a stone proof. Sasa mawe ikikuja inanipata tu. So I think our leaders need to start setting a tone of reconciliation and healing to our nation, and also set a society where we say we have a rule of law. Kenya is not a failed state, where police can be held accountable, where our leaders can be held accountable, and no one is above the law, and that is why we have the constitution. But if we start by the highest office, like the likes of Kashagwa, who are trivializing the talks that are going on, who are saying, oh, mambo ya hakuna mambo ya nusu mkate, hakuna mambo ya bipartisan, hiyo ni kitu tulimaliza wakati wa uchaguzi. That is not offering solution to our country. That is being recklessness by what we say. And what do the citizens do? Citizens are very keen and observe. They say, if Gachagua can say this, I can equally say anything that I wish to say, and we will have the fear of unknown, and we will have tunaongojana kama Rwanda, tunangoja tu kupigana, ni ila tu ni wakati tunangoja, because our leaders are just to say tuende tupigane. I saw a case where the Luo, about 10,000 Luos presented to court to be seceded from Kenya so that they can have their own country. So you can imagine where we are headed when we have such things coming up in a country that has been country is so respected in Africa. So I think Leo, not to take a lot of time, we need to begin setting example from our leaders, because our leaders have failed, and the government has also failed in providing civic education, so that we can know, even though we have the rights of picketing, there is a limitation of that picketing, and we should do so responsibly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mise, for your views. We really value them. Everybody has the right to give their views, whether we like them or we don't like them. We just need to learn to be accommodative, and we learn to be more tolerant, so that we can be able to accommodate each and every person's views. And that is why we are here, and that is why we say, in this true talk, this true political talk, we truthfully talk, irrespective of what we believe in and what we feel others should believe in. Wacha nimpatie nafasi, namuona Stella alikuja akaweza kudrop kidogo. Ondumani pia nimekuona pale karibu, lakini ningeomba msamaha. In this country, I don't want somebody to go to court tomorrow and say that, the third gender, I don't know what gender rule. So because majority as of now is the other gender, that gender of Adam. So let us give the minority an opportunity, so that we can also be able to hear from them. So Stella, kama unaweza nisikiza, tafadhali karibu na unmute.
Can you hear me? I think we are losing our connection. Can you guys hear me?
Stella, I can hear you. Yeah, mimi nakusikia.
I am Zalenda.
We
How
can
are
hear
you?
you. Endelea.
Yeah, a long time, Stella. How have you been?
I was worried what was happening with Mtembei.
No. It is people took a break. You know, after so many shocks, we took a break.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
What?
Okay. I think I've been lost. Kind of. Maybe someone can refresh the conversation, because it seems I've been getting bits and bits of the information about the KK and the Azimio side. As you know me, Mzalendo, I'm not taking any part of any divide. I'm just being a Wanjiko in this situation. The last conversation I had with, I believe it is Leo, when he was talking about the police brutality. The shocking thing which I don't understand is about the IG Kome and IPOA, who have been very quiet about Ikituya police brutality. And it seems that the government is failing, especially this institution like IPOA and the Kenya Police Service. I don't know who gave Kome or the person who's heading the GSU or whatever that they can go and attack peaceful wananchi when they are picketing. If you try and what do you say, if you cause a reaction, there is a reaction in every action. There is a reaction. So I believe this issue of it's called what, about the picketing and what, Kenyans are peaceful. Where I live, it's not far from Kibera. These people were peaceful. What we don't understand, why would people like Azimio, not Azimio, people like KK transport people from getting where they are getting them, then they put them in between the Kibera. It shows that Kibera people are trying to be violent. Then we have bodies. The other day, I think you saw in the media when Kome was saying that people were hired from the mortuary, showing that they had bullet wounds. Am I right or wrong? If anyone saw the news. Anyway,
Yeah,
that's beside them. So now the thing is, what I'm saying, all the parameters from each and every institution in the KK government, all of it has failed, from education, security, trade, name anything, any government institution have failed. Just a week ago, we had an issue about the e-citizen issue, where they were saying that there were Sudan people who are attacking our cyberspace or the e-citizen. It is a story which they are giving a narrative. KK have failed. We believe that e-citizen and any other government platform, they were not hacked, is they are not paying their people. These people are squandering money from right, left, and center. I believe in July, that is when they started doing the collection. Now we got the shock of the year that now KRA, they have to backdate back collecting their taxes, meaning where were the taxes which were collected in June and July? So the thing is, I don't have faith with KK security. I mean, KK government, and I don't have any trust with Azimio. This story of the bipartisan, I believe the people who are spoiling this thing for the bipartisan are the few people from the KK. I believe Azimio, they are ready to sit down and discuss this thing. But what they are going to discuss, it's not touching Wanjiko, end of the day. It is not touching Wanjiko, which even as Kenyans, we are like giving ourselves a lay back. We decide, if you people, you want to go the way of saying reduce cost or having the IBC servers, we don't care. The thing is, we want to be comfortable as Kenyans, because day in, day out, You cannot believe what you are seeing right now. Right now, the dollar rate right now from after the shilling is 150. Ask yourself, it is almost 2 months or 3 months. We don't understand why this money is escalating. Is there something going on with the KK who are in this government and blaming Azimio? Anyway, I don't want to take much of my time discussing about Azimio and KK. The thing is, I'm not having any faith with this government. Let's just wait. We only have 4 months to 2024. Then we wait. Then they keep on campaigning. I don't understand why they are still campaigning and yet they are already in government. So I believe what I'm smelling from afar, I think KK are losing ground. If they are faithful Kenyans who were like for the pro-UDA and pro-whatever, right now they've lost faith with KK. And KK right now, they're smelling the rat from afar. They are losing ground. So the KK people should stop campaigning. They should make sure that the government of the day is in order. Anyway, I don't want to lament a lot of story of KK or Azimio or what. The thing is, I am a Kenyan who is very angry.
Thank
That's my
you.
submission.
Thank you, Stella, for your submission and your views. You really value your views, and it is not only you. You represent quite a number of Kenyans outside there who believe that this Hustler government has lost confidence. I said earlier, as we started, that you have people who believed in this government, people who had hope, but their hopes have kept on being disappointed. And right now, if you tell them that there's something good that is going to come out of this government, they'll not see it. We also have people who still believe in this government. They still believe that something good is going to happen. And that is their right. Kila mtu akona mtazamo wake, na sisi kama Wakenya ni kuwa tu watulivu na tuweze kupokea kila mtu na imani yake. That is why when you saw Ruto having some tour in Mount Kenya, there are quite some people who are really happy. And after feeding on mchele na nyama, they confessed that their problems are over. So people think differently. Wacha tumkaribishe. Sawa.
Ni siku moja tu chakula inaingiaga na inatoka, but the thing is hiyo mchele utakulanga, which me Wanjiko I cannot afford to go and buy the same meat enye naenda kwa butchery. This time hata butchery walikuwa naleta ng'ombe 2-3, siku hizi hata butchery hata mguu ya ng'ombe haiendi. So I don't get it. The government has failed us. It has failed us. Anyway, I am just speaking my truth. And I believe even you people, you have to understand the people who are in government, they should leave the young people to do this job. I don't understand what is happening with these people like in Kenya Kwanza. All of them are boomers, and boomers cannot, I don't know why they're against the young people. I really don't. This is my worry. I don't understand why Ruto would take people like Ishungwa, people like whoever. These are people who don't even make sense. In the government, I listen to the parliament, I listen to the way they give out their talks. It's like they threaten people. Even these days, when it's like we are going back during the Moi days, where you cannot even, air out your concern, because the next thing you know, there are people who are kicking your door. Umeshikwa na polisi. It's not a safe space these days. It is not. That's my worry.
Thank you.
Mzalendo, no, I want Mzalendo to rebuttal me. I'm waiting for you. Rebuttal.
I don't. Why do you want this battle to be between me and you?
Mzalendo, you know
we are okay.
No.
We have got so many. I will rebut. But meanwhile, there is a gentleman who has been sitting here for quite some time. It's called Odumani. Odumani, please, before me, I've been speaking here for a while. Odumani, can you go ahead? I will rebut.
Okay, asante sana, nashukuru kila mmoja wenu na msalimu, amjamboni.
Mzuri.
Mimi nitaanza kusema namna hii. Njia ya mazungumzo ndio njia nzuri. Lakini makamu wa rais asione amefika mwisho. asioni amefika mwisho, hataki mazungumzo. Na mtu yule hataki mazungumzo, wanajifanya ya kwamba wako na serikali, wako na jeshi, wako na polisi, wako na nini. Ndio Biblia inasema ya kwamba mwanzo ya kiburi ni fedha, na wakati hii nchi itachomeka, hao ndio watakuwa wa kwanza kutoroka. Mimi sina ndege ya kutoroka, mimi nitabaki nchi yangu hii ya Kenya, nitabaki nchi hii yangu ya Kenya, lakini watoto yao watapanda ndege, watatoroka. Hao wenyewe watapanda ndege, watatoroka, na watatuacha sisi maskini kwa hii nchi. Na wakati watakwenda, hatutakubali warudi, kwa maana hawa waoni ya kwamba njia ya mazungumzo ni njia nzuri. Hawa wanaona ya kwamba watoto wengine wakikufa, wakipigwa marisasi, waoni watoto yao. Watoto yao wako huko ng'ambo, wanasoma mzuri, wanakula mzuri, wanafanya kila kitu mzuri. Hawaoni watoto wa watu maskini. So vile makamu wa rais anaongea kwamba amefika mwisho. Hajafika mwisho. Tuliona serikali ya Kenyatta, tuliona serikali ya Moi, tuliona serikali Kibaki, na ndio hii serikali ya Husler tumeona, na ndio hii serikali haina mbele wala nyuma. Ni watu wa kujipiga kifua, ni watu wa kujipiga wakicheka meno mpaka ya Disemba inaonekana, wanafikiria kwamba hao wamefika mwisho. Na mimi nasema namna hii, wasitutishe na polisi, kwa sababu polisi hao wanakuja kuishi pamoja na sisi. Hawa siku hizi sahii polisi waishi kwa kambi, wanaishi na raia. Wajua ya kwamba polisi wanaishi na raia, na polisi ndiye inatakana ikuwe rafiki ya raia, ndio wapate information yoyote kutoka kwa raia. Lakini hawa wanafikiria kwamba wako na serikali na kuwa vijana, kwa sababu walidanganya vijana hawa watawapatia kazi, watawatoa chini kuwalete juu. Sasa kuwatoa chini kuwaleta juu ndio kuwaua. Huyo ni kijana yule anapigania haki yake, na hiyo haki yake anataka gharama ya maisha irudi chini, gharama ya vitu yote irudi chini, ili mtu ajimudu kuishi kwa hii Kenya, kwa sababu hii Kenya ni yetu wote, si ya mtu mmoja. So ile njia ya mazungumzo inataka waende njia ya mazungumzo, na wakienda njia ya mazungumzo, hiyo ni njia mzuri, inaelekeza Kenya mahali pazuri. Wasifikiria kwamba wakati wanatembea na ndege huko juu, wanatembea na magari kubwa kubwa, wanafikiria ya kwamba watu Kenya hii kila mtu ako sawa. So mimi nataka kunisema namna hii, kwa serikali ya Kenya Kwanza, wavunje kiburi yao, wavunje majivuno yao, waelekee katika meza wasungumuze. Na wasiporudi katika meza kuzungumuza, sisi wale watoto wetu wanakufa, hatutangoja kuona watoto wetu wanakufa tunanyamaza. Nani ajui mahali soko ya silaha iko? Kila mtu anajua mahali soko ya silaha iko. Na wasifikiria kwamba wakati wanatumia polisi kuua watoto ya watu, niliona polisi wengine wako na civilian, wako na bunduki. Huyo polisi na mwizi iko tofauti gani? Na tuangalie Kibera. Kibera hii vijana walilete polisi kutoka asubuhi mpaka jioni. Na je, hao vijana wa Kibera wangekuwa na silaha, wangefanya namna gani? So wangeshinda polisi, kwa sababu serikali ilikuwa na maji, ilikuwa na bunduki, ilikuwa na tear gas, ilikuwa na kila kitu. Na mwananchi alikuwa na mawe peke yake. Lakini huyu mwananchi alilete serikali, alilete polisi mpaka jioni. Mpaka jioni. So wasiseme ya kwamba walishinda hapo. Wale wa maandamano walikuwa 50-50. Polisi 50, wa maandamano 50. So wakirudi vile wanajipiga kifua namna hii, pia polisi wajipange na raia wanajipanga, kwa sababu wataenda kwa ile njia ile walienda. So ni serikali tu irudi kwa meza ya mazungumzo, isungumuze. Wasioni ya kwamba wamefika mwisho, hawajafika mwisho. Tunasikia kwamba waliiba kura, mimi sijui vile sava inafanana, mimi sijui nini vile inafanana, lakini kama ndugu yako analia na wewe unaenda kanisani unasema wewe umeokoka, Yesu ni Bwana, unaenda kusimama katika pulpit ya kanisa unatoa siasa, na mimi nashangaa nao pastors wanapiga makofi. Hao pastors wajalete uhusiano kati ya serikali na upinzani. Serikali nili kanisa ndio watu inatakana wakimbilia kwa kanisa, ili kanisa ilete amani. Lakini tunapata kanisa ndio imepatia watu nafasi ya kuenda katika pulpit kutoa huko siasa. Wakati inji itachomeka, kanisa itakuwa wapi? Na ndio kanisa inatakana ilete watu pamoja. Lakini tunaona hii makanisa saa hii tunaona dunia imebaki bure. Dunia hii imebaki bure, watu waovu, wezi, wauaji, wanyang'anyi, wote wamekimbilia kanisani. Dunia saa hii haina mtu muovu. Kanisani kwote kule ndio watu waovu wote wamekimbia kanisani. So kanisani kule hakuna salama, kule hakuna ile Mungu anaomba kule, kwa sababu ukisikia katika kitabu Biblia inasema ya kwamba Kristo mwenyewe atakuja na ujira wake mkononi kumlipa kila mwanadamu kulingana na matendo yake. Na aliye na masikio na asikie. Hapa nje kuna wezi, kuna wazinzi, kuna waporaji, kuna wezi, na hiyo yote si walao ni moto iwakae milele na milele. So wasijipige kifua. Tuliona serikali Kenyatta walijipiga kifua, Moi akajipiga kifua, kila mtu akajipiga kifua. Sasa na hao watashinda hao wenye walitoka nyuma? Hawatashinda wale walitoka nyuma. So mimi nasema namna njia ya mazungumzo ndio njia nzuri sana. Lakini mimi naona makamu wa rais wakati ile njia anaenda, hiyo njia hapana mzuri. Yeye anafikiria kwamba yeye ni rais, makamu wa rais wa Mount Kenya. Yeye ni rais wa Kenya nzima. Na huyo rais makamu wa rais nitakana haunganishe wa Kenya wote pamoja. Asiwe makamu wa rais wa Mlima Kenya. Akuwe makamu wa rais wa inji nzima ili aunganishe inji nzima. Naona bibi yake ni pastor. Hawezi kumwambia bwana yake ya kwamba ndugu sikia, njia ya mazungumzo ndio njia nzuri. Waende wakae chini kwa meza, wasungumuze, Kenya iende mbele, tuwache kuenda kuua watoto wetu. Kwa sababu ukiua leo wetu, kesho wako watawawa. Biblia inasema ukiua mwenzako kwa upanga, yako pia ngoje upanga. So wasijipige kifua. Hii dunia si ya mtu. Ukiwa profesa, jeneza na kungoja. Ukiwa mwalimu, jeneza na kungoja. Ukiwa president yoyote, jeneza na kungoja. So the final destination ni hiyo jeneza. So mtu asijipige kifua ya kwamba amefika mwisho. Kura inaendanga na inakuja. Miaka 5 ni nini? Miaka 10 ni nini? Miaka 10 ni kidogo, siku hizi ni kidogo. Miaka 5 ni kidogo. So njia ile ya mwafaka, njia nzuri ni njia ya mazungumzo. Na mimi naona ndugu zetu katika upinzani wako na nia ya kufanya mazungumzo na hawa wa Kenya Kwanza, lakini wa Kenya Kwanza hawana nia. Na wasijipige kifua. Wako na jeshi, wasipigipige kwa sababu hii jeshi inaweza pinduka. Tunaona nchi zile jeshi inachukua madaraka. Tumeona hiyo nchi zile jeshi inachukua madaraka. Na unajua ya kwamba hao watoto unaua, ndugu zake, dada zake wako katika polisi, ndugu zake, dada zake wako katika jeshi. So inji itakuwa inaelekea kwa ile mkondo mzuri. Inji itakuwa inaenda kuharibika. Na watakuwa wapi? Watatoroka, wataenda. Watatuachia sisi. Sisi hatuna pesa ile tunaweza enda ng'ambo. Hii inji ni yetu, tutabaki hapa na hapa. Na wakitaka kuua sisi, watauia sisi na hapa. Wasitutishe au watutie uoga. Wasitutie uoga kwa sababu walichukua serikali kwa mlango ya nyuma. So mtu yule alichukua serikali kwa mlango ya nyuma, asitutie uoga kuua watoto wetu. Asitutie uoga kwa sababu tunaelewa inji vile inaenda. Na wasione vile inji inaenda, wanafikiria iko mzuri. Hii inji inaenda mahali pabaya. Na ni makamu wa rais na rais mwenyewe kuangalia mustakabali wa inji hii inaelekea namna gani. Mambo ya vifua, mambo ya kujipiga kifua, wanasema sisi tulichukua serikali. Hii serikali ni ya mwananchi. Wakati mlichukua serikali, mlimwambia mwananchi ya kwamba mtamsaidia kutoka chini kuelekea juu. Ni hayo tu ndugu zangu, mubarikiwe. Ni hayo machache.
Asante sana Odumani, asante sana kwa kutuelezea na kujaribu kufafanua ile shida iko katika hii serikali ya Kenya Kwanza. Hata mimi nakubaliana na wewe ya kuwa makamu wa rais ni kizingiti kubwa sana kwa uhusiano ya baina ya makabila ya Kenya. Mara mingi anaongea sana katika kwa jamii kwa kabila yake, yani Wakikuyu. So lazima ajue yeye ni makamu wa rais wa nchi ya Kenya na sio makamu wa rais wa Central Province. Hiyo umesema vizuri na umefafanua vizuri sana. Mahali ndakataa kidogo ni ukisema ya kuwa jeshi inaweza chukua serikali. Hatutaki tufike mahali jeshi imechukua serikali ya Kenya, kwa sababu hiyo inamaanisha demokrasia imeanguka. So ndio maana tuko na program kama haya, ili tuelimishane, watu wa serikali wanasikia maoni yako na tuwe na nchi mzuri zaidi. So hiyo mambo ya kupendua serikali kama Niger vile imefanyika, mambo ile wanaongea ni mzuri sana na tena yako laini, lakini ni wakati mwafaka kwa mwanasiasa aweze kujua ya kwamba Wakenya wamechoka. Wakenya wamechoka. Sana sana Afrika kwa jumla. Mambo ya uongozi, mambo ya utendakazi imekuwa chini sana. So tunaangazia na tuko na Stella hapa. Stella, swali yako, I didn't get your question and you wanted me to rebut on your question. Udumani ameongea sana mpaka
there's a guy called Eli.
Eli, I think is on the background. Ametoka kidogo, but he will join us. Eli is a regular. He will still come back and join us in the discussions. So let me hand it over to Leo to continue with the discussion. Leo, I hope your net is back.
No, it will be okay, don't worry. I think it's on and off, but it will just be stable. But it's good. We are having some good start. It will be better with the days. I know tomorrow will be better and greater. And I do appreciate the fact that people are sharing their views, their dissatisfaction, and also giving options. I know yale machungu watu wako nayo is what you hear people telling you that right now inafaa jeshi ichukue hiyo takeover, but it's true. Wakati itakuwa eti jeshi sasa imechukua serikali, sasa itakuwa inamaanisha kuwa sisi kama Wakenya ule udemokrasia haupo, manake uongozi wa jeshi sio uongozi wa demokrasia. And you can just tell right now, if we are just complaining, we are having a democratic country, but we still complain of police brutality. So what do you think will happen if now the government is under the military control? So who will be able to put them to account? I think it will be worse. And the countries that have gone that way, none of them have been successful. If a coup starts today, it will always be a coup. Look at what is happening in the countries in West Africa. And these are countries that are stable and are richer than Kenya. We can't compare ourselves with these countries that are rich in minerals like gold and oil. But they've been having some military, they've been having coup after each and every. So what we need to do is to know that kama kuna hiyo mazungumzo, maswali inafaa tujiulize sasa kama Wakenya, hii mazungumzo itatusaidiaje sisi?
My issue is if I can answer that. Okay, if you see people like
Nigeria, ukisikia naibu wa rais akizungumza, this talk is a synonymous.
Leo, you are breaking too much. Make sure your net yako iko mzuri. Eli has come. Eli, please, can you say something before Leo rectifies his net situation? Eli. Hell is also frozen. Ama nasikiaga wanafanyaga ile kitu, sijui ninakuaga kitu gani.
Anyway, to answer Leo's question about this story of the military, the coup, the detai, whatever, what is happening in West Africa. Let me tell you, right now, Africa is annoyed. It's because of the Western powers, the inatuma watu wakwe confused. And I believe what is happening in Nigeria, it depends with the military. Are they taking it insane? Or are they there for their selfish reasons? You get. So if you see the person who had taken over Niger, I think he's 36 years, I can't remember his name. This guy was rebattling back saying that the Western nations, especially the France, wamekuwa na neocolonial, whatever that thing is called. Your neocolonial, your itagwaje?
Neocolonialism.
Kiswahili kisanifu inaitwa aje?
Ukoloni.
Ukoloni
Mambo leo.
Hiyo. So the thing is, what I'm saying, I think Kenya, we can't reach to that state because I think our constitution is well drafted and well kind of implemented. The only time ikifika wakati ni jeshi inachukua, maybe it's something which is in a state of emergency. Either two things. Either the president dies or the president steps down. You get. Now, our issue here, Mr. Lendo, is about the bipartisan talk with these things of Azimio and KK. Let me tell you, I believe Azimio, they have a solution for this thing. Okay, fine. We cannot have a solution of everything. There's only one thing which Kenya Kwanza should say. Out of the 5, we can only give you 3. But the problem is, if you see the team enye lichaguliwa kwa Kenya Kwanza, from Kalwale, from Ishungwa, from this guy from Mount Kenya, he's called Kangombe, all those people. Why are they trying to force the president or twisting his hand? Amwambia aje hakuna haja tufanye bipartisan talk. Hawa ndio wanaleta the country to be on fire. Azimio, I think they've bowed down now wakasema, look here, this is what our people want and this is what we have. Our demands are this. I remember there were 9. They cut off up to 5. Out of these 5, hawataki kuongea. So my question is the government prepared to listen to us, Mwananchi, who are represented by Azimio, who are feeling the heat? This government called KK, they have selfish people. And I'm telling you, Dani, Mzalendo, it is not far that we are going to have this thing of 2027. Right now, they are feeling the ground, which is too hot for them. Because Ruto had gone for 5 days, Mount Kenya, kufungua project. None of those projects hazikuwa zake. Hizo projects zilianzaga kitambo sana, akina Karemenu Dam, hizo barabara na kila kitu. He should not swing on those projects. The only thing as Kenyans we want to hear Ruto akituambia, mimi nitatoa hii tax na hii tax na hii tax, mubaki na moja. Hii yenye ni moja ndio tutaokota hiyo pesa. Na hii pesa tukiokota tutatengeneza manyumba, tuongeze barabara, tuandikishe walimu, tuongeze streams za shule and what? All these taxes they wanashinda wakiokota. Like I've told you, from this month, watu wameangalia payslip ilikuwa kitungu. Everybody was like this. Bado, the government was not even satisfied. They decided to twist the judiciary's arm. Kuharakisha the judiciary isome ruling ya finance bill, where this ruling was compromised. If 99% of Kenya had refused the finance bill, how come does the court inasema, the judiciary wanasema, were in favor of the government? Are you saying there's an issue with the government of KK? Judiciary, it was its own organ, so it cannot be dictated. The worst thing even right now, 4 of the judges when waliendaga against this, they were transferred last week, which is very upsetting. Wabe transfer wale judges when walikuwaga very sane who they understood the civil matter, the commercial matter ya hizi vitu na hizi vitu za taxation. Wamekuwa demoted ama they were transferred. So now the thing is, who do we trust in KK? If the judiciary yenyewe imekuwa compromise, they don't want to hear Omotata. Mata ya Omotata ilikuwa isikizwe Thursday hii wiki, and the ule judge mwenye alikuwa anasikia the 3-man bench, what they are transferred. So there is something wrong with our government, and KK, they need to pull up their socks before it is too late. We've given them, this is 1 year now. Right now, they are going to sprout their teeth. If they are not going to be careful, I am telling you, they will feel the heat ikifika 2025. That's my submission.
Well, Stella, your points are very, very relevant. And that's why most of the time I like you in the debates and as one of the panelists, because you've got an insight and you dig deep into the issues that not so many people can talk about. Let me welcome Eli, because he's been on and off to come and share his thoughts in these particular issues. Karibu sana Bwana Eli.
Very quickly, thank you for inviting me to the panel. I'm not able to speak.
Eli, you are in a train. Oh, you are okay. Okay, I can see you are in a train. I was wondering where you are.
No, I'm not in a train. I'm not in a train.
You are in a bus.
No. Long story short,
okay,
it was a day trip to Scotland, and the ferry has delayed, so we are in the terminal.
Oh, okay.
So that's why you hear lots of noise in the background.
Okay, good to see you. You'll just listen in, and we'll connect later in an hour or 30 minutes.
Thank you. Yeah,
all right, Karibu. Hey, Mr. Mise, you've been on and off. I hope your network is now okay. We are on the issue of the bipartisan talks. A lot has been mentioned, and my view is that the talks are very important. The talks are what brings peace and stability in the country. You know, we have got only two warring sides. We have got the side of Azimio and the side of Kenya Kwanza. So if they have decided to talk, I saw one of the people in the comment section, I think it is Cornerstone, saying that, you know, you don't have to lose lives, while we could as well have had these discussions and come to a particular solution. So these political talks are very, very good. It's only that, as Stella has mentioned, are they really genuine? Will they come up with issues that will solve the problem? Because right now we are at a stalemate. The judiciary, we've heard that some of the judges who are supposed to hear the case for Kiem Tata have been transferred. Yeah. Is the judiciary interfering with the process of legislation in Kenya? And is the judiciary part of the executive? Is the judiciary working with the presidency? I've argued about the judiciary and the presidency. They have to, as much as we want an independent judiciary, there's an extent of judiciary that has to work with the government of the day. Mise is well placed to answer that particular question. Why the judiciary in Kenya is comfortable working with the government of the day, or why the Kenyans feel that the judiciary should be very, very independent from the government of the day. In the case of the Finance Bill 2023, which now seems the judiciary has turned its back to Azimio. We depended on the ruling, but unfortunately things are going haywire. The government seems to be interfering with the process. Some judges have been transferred. Mise, please, can you please give us some light and into this legal matter?
Well, I cannot say that I'm better off placed to give an opinion about that, but I think it's my concern or my observation goes back to what we are seeing our leaders doing. I think it's the precedence that has been set by our leaders. I mean, I don't think this started well. We have we have conditioned our country that after every election we must go to court, we must challenge the election, we must say someone has not won. People don't move on, accept and move on and say, well, if you are a smarter thief than myself, then you move on and take the country forward as long as you dispense the obligation and champion the development of our economy. I think that is where we have the foundation of problems in our country. And I think when you have a country that immediately after election plunges into chaos and questioning the validity of the election and having the one party challenging the other party, if it were you, Bwana Mzalendo, kama wewe ndio umeiba na umesucceed kuiba, kama kwa mfano tunasema William Ruto aliiba, amesucceed kuiba, obviously you don't expect William Ruto to relent. He's going to defend wizi wake to the core, and he's going to use the avenues that we have, that he has, and he has power and access to defend that which that he has stolen. And also, I think the opposition right now, as much as we are getting to the talks, must understand that William Ruto has made William Ruto and Gachagua, they have made up their minds. Wamesema hakuna serikali ya nusu mkate, wamesema hakuna kitu ya kuongea. So it's like this talks are just buying time so the Kenyans can be fatigued, wachoke, waseme tumechoka na hii mambo ya kuongea. William Ruto, endelea na kazi yako, miaka yako 5 ishe tena tuende bado kwa uchaguzi. So I don't think these bipartisan talks are going to materialize anything. They are just there to buy time, and William Ruto has mastered that toa watu kwa street, tukuje tuongee. After that, you know what, we will go back to the street na watu watachoka. In the meantime, miaka inaenda, time is being wasted, and the losers are Kenyans. So in terms of the judiciary, the interdependent of the three arms of government, the judiciary, the executive, and legislature, you will understand that all these bodies are compromised. It's not only probably the judiciary that is compromised, but equally the legislature is compromised. Like I said before, when we have been told that William Ruto has bought or has compromised the Azimio members of parliament, so that means Azimio has already lost its foot soldiers who are at the forefront, who are supposed to speak and represent the interests of Azimio in the right places, like the Senate, the National Assembly, and the Counter Assembly. But when you find these people are not there, they are not your voice, they are the other people's interests, that means you have already been compromised. So I think we cannot recall the judiciary. We don't have the power to recall the judiciary as the people, but we do have powers to recall those that we feel that have been compromised and not representing the interests of our people as Azimio, or our people from the county level and to the national level and at the Senate level. So I think that is what I can say. And I can tell you, Mzalendo, hata saa hii, a very perfect example, you are the moderator hapa. Kama I'm not appealing your interests, ukiona ninakutukana, ukiona I'm being disrespectful with you, and you have the power of removing me from being part of the penalist list here, utanitoa. It's human. So William Ruto has the power, and is Gachagua, and whatever they are. So they have the power to silence people who do not appeal to their interests. And even you, if you're in your position of authority, now you report your boss is the president of the Republic of Kenya, I think you will have to toe the line and appeal to where influence of power is. And I think that is what is happening. It's either you are alive or you do what your boss says. And we have seen the likes of Chris Msando. They were killed and there was no justice for them. So sometimes people look at the bigger picture. We remember Kivuitu, the guy was ELCK then. He was afraid of his life and he died saying, hata sijui ni nani alishinda uchaguzi. So sometimes people fear for their lives and they tend to play by what the government of the day wants. And I think that is what is happening right now. If you dare challenge certain powers in Kenya, you are not guaranteed of your tomorrow. So you rather do that which they want. And I think that's the reality. As much as we say you have a job and you have the power to make the right decision sometimes might not guarantee your life, and your life is important, and to your family. The job might not be important, so to say. I think that is the way I could respond to your question, Mr. Bwana Mzalendo. Thank you. I think, there you are. You're on mute, Mzalendo.
Unmute.
Thank you, Mise. Unmute and then you can switch off video. So, so anyway, what I wanted to say is that the government has to collaborate with the judiciary for it to run. Whether we like it or not, there has to be some extent of collaboration between the government and the judiciary. I know Kenya Rebel is nodding his head. Where he is at the moment, the president appoints judges, and where he is, the people that he supports want certain cases to be taken in certain courts where they are more friendly judges. But having said that, they must abide by the rule of the law. They must abide by the rule of the law. The judiciary has to talk to the government for the government to run effectively. So in summary,
It's the other way around. The
so in
government
summary,
has to listen to the judiciary. You're on mute.
Yeah, there was a kid who was just walking into the studio. So in summary, there has to be a working relationship between the government of the day and the judiciary. Remember, the president is the appointing authority. Whether you like it or not, that has to be there.
Look, Mzalendo, judiciary is like an amoeba. So the government haiwezi ingia ndani ya judiciary. So judiciary ndio inatakiwa kuadvise the government of the day. Let me tell you, there are a lot of illiterate people in government.
Do you know?
Listen.
What is the function of the AG? What is the function of the AG, the Attorney General?
The AG is there. He's there, like he's the advocate to the government. But remember, the is operating independently. So if anything goes wrong, the AG will be questioned. Why did you not advise the president to do X, Y, Z? Remember, judiciary wenyewe wanakuanga independent. So they are the ones who make sure that the rule of law has been followed, not the president. So you have the constitution. This constitution is the one which guides Miwanjiko and guides the judiciary. That's why you see there's that small book which has almost 500 pages. It's called the Constitution of Kenya. Each and every act and everything, it's there. If the government breaks, that's why you see people like Akina Mokia Mutata run to court. So you can't tell me that Mukia will need to have permission from the president and continue. No, judiciary, it is on its own organ. And I'm telling you, it is the government to listen to the judiciary. And the AG himself, who is Justin Muturi, has failed to do his work. So where you see the judiciary is being compromised in a petition finance bill where Wanjiko said 99% hiki tu hatutaki, but finance bill ilipitishwa. Hata tukiangalia na legal researchers, all the parameters which were there in the constitution, they were ignored by the judiciary.
Listen and listen carefully. The judiciary of the Republic of Kenya advises the government if a case is brought in court, that does not align to, and listen, does not align to the rule of law. And that is what. But look, that is what the court advised on Umtata. If the court advised Umtata,
for Nani, what are the parameters for the judiciary to the government? Tell Nani, AG is the one who advises the government.
Yes.
Yeah, and your advocate.
Yes.
Government. Judiciary iko kivyake.
Can you hear me?
The government and the judiciary. The judiciary ensures us that the government policies are aligned.
The policies are there in the constitution.
Mzalendo.
Can you read your constitution, whatever?
What Stella is saying?
It is there on the internet. Make Google your best friend.
No.
Hold on.
Google to your best friend.
Hold on.
Go to the constitution.
My best friend.
Hold on.
The judiciary, the government and the judiciary, they have to work together.
Mzalendo, can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. Mzalendo, don't say the government and judiciary. The judiciary is an arm of government. It's also government. Okay? The legislative body is an arm of government. There are three arms of government. The executive, which consists of the presidency, the president, the judiciary, which consists of the Supreme Court, all the courts, okay, and the legislative body, which is with the Senate and the MPs, the parliament, okay. The role of the judiciary is to handle disputes as it pertains to the Constitution. Their role is not to advise the government, the executive, okay? When you say judiciary should advise the government, the judiciary is actually the government. It's also the government, okay? Ruto doesn't have all the power. So if there's any disputation between two parties, whether it's the parliament and the executive, we can run to the judiciary, who are tasked. We donated this power to them to interpret what the Constitution says. So in regards to what? No. Listen. You have to listen. Okay. So if I can sue the president, I can sue the executive. What Okiya Omtata did, he put a petition, okay, and he said that the way this Finance Act was passed was unconstitutional, okay? So he went to the judiciary, the arm of government, which is tasked with the role of interpreting the law, handling this dispute between Okiya Omtata and the executive, which consists of the president and his Finance Act, and said, hey, this thing did not go through as it's supposed to according to the Constitution. So that's when the judiciary will rule on that, okay? Now, we might not agree with the ruling, as we have seen. So there's also ways out, now that they don't agree, Okiya Omtata has to go higher up the chain, whether it was in, I don't know, High Court. If it's not High Court, he'll go to Supreme Court, whichever way, until, if the Supreme Court, which is the highest law of the land, will rule on the matter. Oh, yeah, he can appeal. Yeah, you can appeal.
Yeah,
but just to correct you.
But you see, now the thing is that judges who are meant to listen to that, they've already been transferred and others have been demoted. So you see, the government, yes, I can pick for you.
I think Stella is right.
I think both of you who are listening to the finance bill, all of them have been transferred and demoted.
No, but here's what
So wametolewa kwa
Stella,
constitutional court, they've been put in a normal civil court. It
yeah,
tells you there's someone is compromising the judiciary.
here is what I think, if I understood Mzalendo properly, what Mzalendo was saying, he might have said, he might have used the word government and judiciary, but what is intended by what is envisioned in the Constitution is that the three arms of government must work in harmony, right? They must work in harmony. However, they must work independently, right? They are expected to work in harmony, but must have independence in the manner they operate. So, for example, the judiciary is supposed to be an oversight authority over the executive and the legislature, because oversight in the sense that if the executive is not working in accordance to the law, then the judiciary can interpret, like you said, Kenyan rebel. They can help us understand and interpret the law as to how the judiciary, the executive must conduct themselves. That is why once there is a dispute within the one arm of the government, we go to the judiciary to ask them, what is the clear understanding of this section? Did they act in accordance to the Constitution? Then they will tell us, according to this section of the law, this is how, or this is the understanding of how they should conduct themselves. So these three arms of government should work in harmony, but while working independently. And I think that's one thing that we need to be clear. The other thing I wanted to mention is that if you look at the way Ruto appointed the CS, Ruto was very, he was a genius, or he was working within the framework of the Constitution by making sure that he has recommended and sent it to the legislature, and it was up to the legislature to decide whether they are approving. That is why they were doing vetting. The legislature was doing vetting. And after they do that and agree, then Ruto, no one can go back and point fingers to Ruto and say, you use the powers of the executive, you abuse the powers. But he will say, but I brought it to the legislature, which is supposed to vet and approve. Okay? So that is why you find that everything, even bipartisan, even these bipartisan talks, Ruto recommended and threw it back to the legislature, and the legislature have the mandate to either continue with those talks or not. That is my understanding to that. Thank you.
Mr. Let me correct you a little bit. The oversight, the arm of government that's given the power for oversight is the legislative body, not the judiciary. The judiciary only, okay, they handle disputes according to what the Constitution says, okay? They interpret and rule according to what the Constitution says, the rule of law, okay? So if there's a dispute between the executive and the parliament, or the executive and a normal mwananchi, as is in the case of Okiya Mtata, okay, you report that to the judiciary for the courts to interpret. What does the Constitution say about this? Okay. Now you mentioned about Ruto passing it through the legislative body. Yes, he did. But if you listen to what Okiya Mtata was saying, the process in which it was done, even in the parliament itself, for example, the finance bill, okay, we have to have a budget. The process of what is a budget? In the Constitution, Article 2022 defines what a budget is, okay? Now, if we look at PFM Act under 37, subsection 9, okay? It says that they have to come up with determine what the estimated estimates of the money that can be collected, okay, and the estimated expenditures. So what Kiomtata is saying is that estimate revenues was not determined for it to be for us to have an appropriation bill. Okay, so in that case, the process in which this finance bill is not constitutional because the revenue estimates were not determined. Okay, so that's why the finance bill, Ruto cannot, because the finance bill is a tax collecting measure. So Ruto cannot say that he wants to raise he wants to raise 18% on fuel because his target estimate is to raise $1 billion in a year, $1 billion shillings, okay, while the parliament or the legislative body did not determine the revenue estimates, okay? That's what's make it illegal. I hate to get technical in this, okay? So that's what Kiomtata is arguing. And he took to court and he told the court, hey, this process was not followed. All right, that's the main whatever. Now the issue where Stella talked to us about the judges that has been moved and all that. Okay, we know that historically Kenya, the executive, the president has always have influence on the judiciary. They try to influence the judiciary. Uhuru Kenyatta, okay, he influenced Maraga on that second after he nullified his election, he influenced Maraga to kubali aendelee na hiyo his whatever the election, even though Azimio had boycotted it, that it was going to not going to have an election. So that's an example of how the president, the executive, can influence the judiciary. But we are making strides. For example, when Ruto tried to have those 50 CS, okay, which was unconstitutional. And the judiciary, okay, judiciary ruled over that case and said we can only have 24 as per constitution. So those 50, those extra ones are illegal. Okay, so that's an example of what I'm saying. So in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is this: the judiciary is the arm of government, independent. It is the government, the serikali. We gave them that power. Their main aim is to handle disputes. And any dispute that is brought about to them, they have to interpret it and rule according to what the Constitution says about the matter. I hope I'm clear, Missy.
I totally agree with what you're saying. One of the arguments that I made earlier is that that body that is charged with the responsibility of oversight has also failed because they do have the power to oversight. So this is what we were arguing, that when you find a member of parliament in the streets, just like you and me, you find the Senate, just like you and me, you find the county assembly, just like you and me, so vulnerable, like you and me, then you ask yourself, who is going to be our mouthpiece? Who is going to represent us? Who is going to oversight our interests? Like you say, the legislature has the power of oversight and representation, right? So, but they have failed as well. How then do we want to say that the judiciary is going to work 100% in interpretation of the law to the interest of mwananchi and not the person who wields so much power in from the executive? So like you have said, we are having this problem, and we are the highest level of the government, and we the people have the power to recall these people starting from the legislature. So we must first say, we elected you on the ticket of ODM, for example, and we asked you to go because we believed you to be our mouthpiece. You failed. What are you doing in the streets with us? You know, we will send you to parliament. We want you, while we are busy in the streets, we also want you to initiate a bill, start a bill in parliament of the same, and speak from that highest level of government. So so I don't want to see members of parliament wakivaa sufuria huku kwa streets kama mimi. So we want them to create a distinction and say, yes, through you we are paid salary, and because we are paid salary, we are going to do our job. And because you are not paid salary through the powers that is vested according to the constitution, that is vested in the people, that can be expressed and exercised by the people, either directly or indirectly. So you can go ahead and exercise the powers directly, as we also exercise indirectly through the power you delegated or donated to us in parliament. So I think, as well as we are talking about the judiciary, it is important also we call out these three arms of these three houses of legislation that has failed the people while they are getting a lot of salary and benefits on the back of Mwananchi.
That's a good point, and I agree with you, Mise. That's why some of us were arguing, and you made the same point when you said, why are these members of parliament and senators going to Mandamano? Because if they go to Mandamano, that essentially means that they've given up the power that we donated to them. So they should resign and they should stop receiving salary, so that we Wananchi express our exercise our power directly, okay, through through us, we the people, and that's why I also come back to this whole talks thing. I don't know where were we, but I had a little bit when you guys were talking about talks, what these talks might yield. Number one, I want to say this, and this is where I kind of I don't agree with my brothers from Azimio. They call Ruto illegitimate, but what are you basing that illegitimacy on? Because we went to the same judiciary when you petitioned the election, when you claimed that you didn't win, and the judiciary looked at your evidence and say that you don't have a case here. You still maintain he's illegitimate. Why are you still having talks with him? Why are you still having talks with him? What are we going to talk about? What is this talks going to help? That's what I'm still wondering. Why are we talking to Ruto if you think he's illegitimate? If I think you're illegitimate, I don't have to sit down and talk to you, because I'm actually legitimizing the fact that you're a president if I have to sit down with you. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. That's where and I'm not Kenya Kwanza. Let me say that. I think Ruto is a mess. He's a Western puppet. But one thing that's fair, I haven't seen any evidence that this election of 2022 that was rigged. I have no evidence. I haven't seen it. 2017, 2007, 2013, there was evidence, overwhelming. 2022, I haven't seen any. Maybe you can convince me for the Azimio brothers and sisters. Thank you.
I think Stella is the best person suited to answer that question. If you have got evidence, can you go to court tomorrow and present it as new evidence that these elections were indeed stolen? And here I come with the new evidence that this election was stolen.
Okay, fine.
You know, Kenya Rebel, you brought a very interesting conversation. I've seen people alleging that elections were stolen, even here in the US, but they have been taken to court. If you lie in court that elections have been stolen, or we've been peddling rumors that the elections have been stolen, you're supposed to be taken to court and answer those charges.
Zalendo, just to correct
Zalendo,
you, the one in the
can
US.
I ask you one question?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, the election has been stolen. Okay, results have been read. We know who is the president. He's been sworn. So what difference would it bring when someone has already, you're the victor in the court? There is nothing. You'll have to wait for 5 years again. You go back to that box. But the thing is, even Akina Azimio, they're insisting the servers to be opened. I don't know, the elections were stolen. They go back to those forms. They go back to the ballot papers and what. We do not care, because it's not going to change our lives. The thing is, where we are getting pissed off is because of these taxes. And I told you they had 9 points. They went and discussed the first one, the second one, even they were almost throwing chairs. They reduced it to 5. Now, out of the 5, they reduced it to 3. So out of the 3, Ruto said that story of reducing taxes, he's not ready to have those talks. You understand? So what I'm trying to tell you, the Mzalendo, after if Raila, won and the court, we cannot go back again and do another election. We have to move on. That means IBC, they should be knowing where their mistakes are. Then they improve for the next election. So now the bipartisan talks for Azimio and KK Kenya Kwisha, whatever they call themselves. The thing is, they had 9 points. They were reduced to 5. Now they are to 3. Now the last one, which they say they want to talk about reducing taxes and reducing the cost of living. The thing is, Ruto and his team have refused. So what we are saying, me as a Wanjiko, fine, is okay, unga tutakula ya 300 na nini. But ukijua tu 2027 ikishafika 2026, ujue hiyo kitu unaenda nayo nyumbani. Urudi tena.
You know, Stella, just to make a follow up on what Zalendo, what Stella is saying. You know, the work of the cost of living, that's the work of the government. So really, for Azimio to try and hold the government at ransom to bring down the cost of living, I think it's misplaced. It's not within their power. That's the way I'm thinking. Number 2, beginning around in the next 1 or 2 months, there will be a lot of harvesting going on in Kenya. Maybe it's going on, and that means there will be plenty of food. You know, kutakuwa na mahindi. Wakati nilikuwa Kenya, niliona mahindi imepandwa kila mahali. In place of kulikuwa na ngano, ukienda Narok, utaona a lot of maize. So which means we are going to have a lot of food in the country, and the question of cost of living and the strain in terms of food, itakuwa imejipa, like it would have resolved itself. But I think the motive of going to talks is not a genuine motive. I think it's the motive is to negotiate for positions of positions in the government from the people of Azimio, if we are genuine. And I think, like you have said, Stella, if indeed elections were stolen, the president was sworn in, we know nothing is going on, and we kept telling our Azimio counterparts that this dream of walking to State House and hosting the sitting president is just an imagination of an imagination that we have never seen in this world, and that might not work, and never worked anyways. And these people never, agreed that this is an imagination. These are dreams, wet dreams. But now that we have the president, why don't we say Kenya is greater than all of us? Kenya is greater than Azimio. Kenya is greater than Kenya Kwanza, and let us move on. How do we find solutions? The solutions is not holding the government at ransom. The solutions is saying we, the Azimio, feel that the policies that we have, maybe healthcare policies, we need to critique this policy for it to work effectively as intended. Maybe you have the right policies, but we need to criticize or critique the policies so that we can have it dispense, we can have the policy give the best results. We, the people of Azimio, feel that we, Ruto, if you allow us, because we are patriots of this country, we can bring in suggestions, and if you find it good, or if you find them reasonable, please adopt them so that we can have a greater economy in our that will benefit our people. We, the Azimio, feel we have something to bring to the table, not for our benefit, but for the benefit of the citizens of this country. This is the kind of talks that I want to see these people propelling, not conditions saying, if you, Ruto, you can't do this, then we are going back to the streets. that is not a conversation that is going to yield results, but it's a conversation that is going to polarize our country. It's going to say, Ruto is going to say, I am the president, I am the boss, and I'm going to show you that I have the power, I have the mantle, and I won the elections, and you can do nothing. If you go to the podiums and continue abusing the president, what do you expect? Is going to do completely the opposite of what you're asking him to do. So I think the Azimio people need to tone down their insults and bring the reconciliatory tone where they are going to tell Ruto, yes, you are the president, and not call Ruto selectively the president. If you remember Orengo, when Ruto went to Siaya, Orengo called Ruto 15 times. He called him Your Excellency 15 times. But now, when he gets out of that forum, he doesn't recognize him as the president. What kind of selective application of recognition is that? This is the double standard of our Zmio people. We need to call them out. When Ruto is giving them development, they call him Your Excellency. When Ruto is not doing what they want, then they call him illegitimate president. And this is not for the benefit of the people as a whole or as our country. Somehow you can't polarize the country when it's not working for you. But when it's working for you, you praise and chant the praises of one William Samoei Ruto. We should criticize him when need be, and give him credit when need be, and not just selectively apply when to praise him. Thank you.
Well,
Okay,
okay, go ahead, Stella. Go ahead.
okay. Mise, you said something about Azimio issue, like they should tone down. Remember, they are getting the heat from KK Kenya Kwisha. I don't know why I'm calling them KK Security. Kenya Kwisha. Me, my issue is here. I have no problem with Azimio. I'm having the problem with Kenya Kwisha. Why do they? My question is having this bipartisan talk, is it convenient or not, or we just do that? It's business as usual as Kenyans. Because you see, it is so annoying that Kenya Kwanza, they are not willing to listen, and they are not willing to sit at one table with Azimio. That is what is killing me. If they just need to listen, sit down and ask Azimio, what exactly do you want out of the three? Okay, then they say they want to deal about the cost of living. Remember, cost of living is not about food. We are talking about the huge taxes which they are being implied to us. And remember, Mzalendo, when I told you, like in the month of July, everybody was shocked seeing that whatever they were being taxed, it was too much. Businesses have closed down. They've gone to our neighboring countries. People are not even doing business as usual, because right now, even the shilling which you are trying to save, you are having issue even doing the small savings which you have to do. The dollar has gone so much, like now, right now, it is to 150. Less than 2 months. You ask yourself. The thing is Azimio, I mean KK Security, to sit down with Azimio. Azimio, they say, okay, fine. Let's look on the taxes. Taxes for this issue of housing fund. Let's not tax this. Let's wait to the next regime. It is not hard to ask for taxes to be reduced. It is not hard for taxes to be pushed over. We are not going to die because we don't have the houses. Okay, then we need something like our medical covers, our taxes about our pay, taxes about what do you call NHIF and NSSF. They are giving us so much, which even you look at your payslip, you're getting tired. You're forced even to reduce you cannot leave the comfort what you had a year ago. That is what Azimio are asking. Just come and sit down. Tell us what you can do and what Mwananchi is expected to hear from your government. And us will know what to do. Look at something like fuel. Right now, fuel has gone up, and every 14th, I think 14 is going to be on Monday. Every 14th, there is a fuel increase. There is no way there will be a fuel reduction. Now, our fuel right now is let's say 200. Now, on Monday, we don't know whether it is going to be 200 or 2 or whatever. The thing is, Azimio are just asking for two things. Just reduce the cost of living and reduce the amount of taxes. Kenya Kwanza do not want to listen. So don't blame it to Azimio. The people who are Kenya Kwanza are the ones who have been refusing to go and listening to Azimio. They've been called 4 times. They have refused to go. That is my issue with Kenya Kwanza. Azimio, I have no problem. I know they're trying to look after Wanjiku. And these are the people. And
Stella, let me ask you a question before you go further.
yeah.
Is it the work of the opposition to advise the government of the day?
No, it's not the government to be the opposition to advise. The thing is, once this thing as well, whatever Kenya Rebel was saying, it can go back to court. Then we start again. You get? So the appeal which Omokia Omotata, which was meant to be listened, I think on Thursday of this week, which is going to be, I think, on 17th. Now, if the 3-man bench, they would listen to that appeal, they can decide what taxes can be reduced, or we go back again. They dismiss it again, we go back to the drawing board. Because anything in that finance bill, everything was false. If 99% of Kenyans said, finance bill ni mbaya, even a child knows finance bill ni mbaya, because haikuwa na public participation, they lied to us. So even that ruling was delivered with lies. So as Kenyans were like, it is okay, fine, you want taxes, but we cannot pay everything. You remove some, other ones you can move it to the next regime. If in case if you win in the next whatever election. But the thing is, overburdening us, it is not going to solve anything. Let me tell you, there is wastage from day one to even the last day. The other time when we were reading the newspaper, we lost almost like 6 billion. Leave those days when Uhuru was saying that people are losing 2 billion every day. This is 6 billion. You ask yourself why that 6 billion is getting lost, and yet they're still collecting taxes. We are not seeing any development. We've not seen any improvement in counties. Everybody, hakuna hospitali. Oh, these are schools, teachers have not been paid. Ask yourself, all these taxes munaokota, na mmeshinda mkiokota hii pesa, imeenda wapi? There's
Stella,
something wrong with KK.
I have a question
They
for
have
Stella.
refused to listen Azimio, and Azimio is Wanjiku. And I believe all the Wanjikos now, even the Mount Kenya, they've decided now to move with Azimio. But now, like right now, if Ruto was going to Mount Kenya, he felt that he's losing ground because he knows his supporters from Mount Kenya are going to Azimio. So why was he going there? Just to show his relevance. Niko hapa, tutawasaidia, hakuna kitu alienda kufanya. So do not convince me that KK is doing anything. Azimio, I believe they are doing their best they could. And they are more patriotic than KK said. KK. Oh my God, KK.
you keep on, you keep on guys calling
I'm so
Kenya Kwanza
annoyed.
security company. I mean, I think you are doing it deliberately. And,
No,
and Stella,
I am
please.
annoyed.
No, you're doing it deliberately.
Nick,
You
I have a
said
question
it
for Stella.
100 times. Kenya Kwanza.
Okay, Kenya
security guard.
I have a question for Stella.
Yeah.
Nick, Stella.
Yes.
You are saying that Azimio, Kenya Kwanza are not listening to Azimio. Could it be that Azimio are not asking the right questions?
No. Azimio are asking the right question.
For example, let me ask you. You've mentioned about collection of revenue, taxes, and so on. They are burdening people. Do you think there is anything wrong for the government to collect taxes?
There is no problem collecting taxes. It is what was imposed to us. It was too much and it's overburdening us. We have not refused to pay taxes. The thing is, these taxes have been exaggerated, where even us, we are unable even to live hand to mouth. There are people, let me tell you, I can give you an example. If something like unga ya ugali, na hiyo ndio ilikuwanga first aid kit ya Kenyans, every household eating ugali. Right now, each house cannot even afford to buy 2 packets of ugali. Because why? Taxes have been imposed in everything, from iyo karatasi, how that shift pinakuja, millers wameimpose your taxes. It is extended back to the consumer. If those taxes were not been there, we could have survived with that 300 shillings a day, where Wanjiko gets it akienda kwa mjengo. Yes,
let me say something before
Kenya, no, let Kenya rebel.
Yeah, you're going to say, this is what I want to tell you when I asked you these questions. I think when Azimio are coming to the table, they should ask the right questions.
But they've been asking the right questions.
The fundamental question they should ask is, how do we combat corruption? You know?
Corruption is there.
Because corruption is
there.
How do we, because we are not asking the right questions. We are not asking the government how to fight corruption. Because if we fight corruption and we manage to minimize it, it means our revenue, if the money that is collected will be used as intended, then we will see the progress. But because corruption is very rampant and no one, neither Kenya Kwanza, neither Azimio is willing to discuss about how they can fight corruption uniformly or as a team, that is why we are not asking the right question. The second thing is there is an issue of election after election period, the stealing of election. Instead of talking about how we can fix IEBC now, so that in our general election, in the next general election, we don't have a repeat of what Azimio is imagining happen. We are telling the government to open the servers. Is that not irrelevant discussion right now?
No problem. The thing is, what you're saying, that Azimio are not asking the right question. I will dispute with you. They've been asking this same question on the floor of the parliament. They've been asking the same question at the Senate. The thing is, KK, Kwenyakwisha are not being responsive. They are not being responsive. The other day, there was the issue about power being increased like 10 times more than whatever we buy from our local Kenyan. Azimio asked a question to the Kenya Kwanza. If you knew that these IPPs are bringing power here and they are producing power and they are selling at this amount, give us the names of the people of that company who, they were trying to do transparency. What did Kenya Kwanza do? They hid those directors. And 2 of the directors are the Kenya Kwanza people. And they are very strongholds of Ruto. The thing is, if Azimio had won, corruption cannot go. It will be there. The thing is, Kenya Kwanza have asked Azimio have asked the right questions. Number 1, why can you not reduce the cost of living? No one is coming with a transparent answer. Number 2, asking about the IBC issue and about how to re-strategize how the IBC committee will be. That is the business of another day. Right now, what Kenyans want to know, it's like, how is our lives going to be better after 2023? No one is giving a definite answer. The issue of IBC, let it be discussed. There are some professional bodies which they can come and give out their presentation, how they can avoid this thing not to happen like the one which has been happening in 2007 and 2017. But now the definite thing where the Kenya Kwanza are not answering Azimio, it is how they are going to reduce the cost of living. And what is happening where people are having professional bodies, they are coming into government, They are being given money which they cannot account for. So that is the work of the Public Account Committee. They've never responded back. So that's where the money disappears. So we cannot discuss about corruption now. Even as Azimio had entered today, still there will be corruption. The thing is, we want to have transparency. And this is the thing Kenya Kwanza are not giving the people.
Oh, Stella, I just wanted to tell you this. You asked that when you say Kenya Kwanza are not willing to sit down with Azimio, or they don't want to sit down with Azimio to discuss this. Actually, there's a place where they can sit and talk about this. It's called the Parliament or the Senate. They can discuss that. That's where the talks are supposed to be happening about, you know, cost of living and all that stuff. They don't need to find a commission outside of the Parliament. That's why I'm telling you, Azimio politicians are also letting you down. For example, I'll tell you why. Remember, I agree with you. I agree with you on the finance bill. I am still against this finance bill because they're levying heavy taxes on common mwananchi, and already maisha ni ngumu. So the problem is this: when it was the time to vote for this finance bill on the Parliament, where were the Azimio MPs that were supposed to vote down this thing? 89 of them absconded. They didn't even show up. Okay, instead of showing up, gathering around with persuading your friends in the MPs, in the legislative body, in the Parliament to vote against this finance bill, the Azimio folks didn't show up, including, I think was Babu Owino was one of them too. So what I'm trying to say is this: it is not only Kenya Kwanza that are letting us down, it is also Azimio. They are not pro-Anjiku. Of course, right now they are outside the government. They're not in powers per se, the executive. That's why they are trying to use this issue of cost of living to get votes. But in my opinion, again, it's my opinion. I might disagree with it. I think Azimio are also not, because remember, even when they were going to these talks, they had to be reminded by the people. Once people in the Twitter started writing, "Hey, why are you guys going to talk about all this I don't know, office of the president, I don't know what. Why is cost of living the #1 issue on the Ninio?" Remember that? So after that is when Azimio started writing, "Hey, okay, we are including cost of living, whatever." So that's why that's a good example of telling you that these politicians and they pretend that they care about what the common mwananchi want, but they don't. That's why I agree with Misa in this sense that we, the people who are in the ground, wananchi, we should actually look at the laws about recalling these representatives, our wanasiasa, these MPs. Make it an easier way, because right now I think the laws in place says that you cannot recall these MPs 24 months after they have been elected and 12 months before the next election. So basically you have one year window where you can recall them. So they make it so hard for them to be recalled. So these are the kind of laws that we need to change, where if your MP is not working for you, your representative, go there and tell him, and hey, you know what? If you're not going to the parliament to talk about cost of living, tunakutoa. None. So the problem is not only Kenya Kwanza, it's also Azimio. These people are not hawatupiganii. Sahii wanataka tu hiyo kiti, hata hao pia wanataka kiti, hapo ndio sawa wanajifanya ati hey, let's go talk in these talks. These talks are going nowhere unless I don't know, maybe you have inside information, but mi naona hii kitu haiendi, and they're not discussing the things that we need. How is restructuring IEBC, like you, in fact, Stella, you made a good point. You said, how is this IEBC issue going to help us na bei ya mafuta iko juu? Unaona? And these are the things they're going to spend I don't know how many days discussing at our expense. So you made a good point there. But all in all, I'm saying all these politicians on both sides are not helping us, the things that they're talking about.
Well said, Kenya Rebel. Stella, you know, you need to jog your mind backwards, and you will find one Azimio leader said that the war in Ukraine is the one that is bringing the high cost of living. If you walk, I will play for you the clip very soon. And Stella, you are saying something. Unmute your mic.
Do not try and use that narrative to guilt trip us Kenyans, Wanjiko. You cannot tell me, no. You're guilt tripping me, Wanjiko, that telling me about Ukraine. Let me tell you. So if it is a Ukraine war, so how come that our neighbors in Tanzania, in UG, in Ethiopia, they are enjoying their lives? Why is Kenya?
All right, let me answer.
And that is a good question, Stella.
That is
you
a
asked.
good question. That is, and Kenyaribel answered you. Kenyaribel answered you and told you, Parliament is not doing its work.
No, I am not going to allow it. And there is there was an investigation which was already done, and there was some lobby group. They went and saw that Ukraine, yes, it had war. Remember, Ukraine is big. So where it was affected, it was not on the industrial part. Ni huko mashinani. Kama unaishi huko mashinani.
Ndio Stella, lakini
hawezi niambia ni Ukraine.
Hatusemi ni Ukraine, hata sisi we are on tuko side moja na wewe.
Use the guilt trip telling me it is a Ukraine war. Ukraine has its own war. South Africans are getting the fertilizer. We are getting fertilizer. Tanzania is getting fertilizer. UG is getting fertilizer. Ethiopia, they are getting fertilizer. Why is our matter, which is so different, we should use that one to guilt trip Wanjiko? Listen to me and listen to me. There was an issue where that Ukraine, they had already given us, what do you call it? Like they had given us a donation of 2,000 metric tons of fertilizer. Listen to me. Free of charge. Na ikakuja na meli. A corrupt politician akaenda akaprint ngunia. Aka repackage nini fertilizer akaziuza 6,500. Ruto alisahau is a farmer, isn't it? Ruto akakuja ka notice ile mneni DAP na CAN zenye alikuwa anatumia kwa shamba, it has become too expensive and he cannot get profit from his product. What did he do? He went to the State House, called all journalists, akaongea juu ya fertilizer, reduce equal 2,500. Then you're coming telling me here it is a Ukraine war. Let's not joke with that story.
No, Stella.
No.
Stella, we are upset. We are upset in the same velocity as you. That when Nick started saying, he said, "Let jog your mind." What did he say? What did he mean?
He said,
you go down,
I go back and jog my mind about the Ukraine.
No, that's not what he said. During the Kenyatta time, the question of cost of living arose. It was it did. It was one Raila Amolo Odinga who said, listen, we listened to you. You told us about Ruto.
Okay, no problem.
But let us also tell you what Raila said in respect to the cost of living. It was during Kenyatta's time. Then Raila said, watu wanapweka kama umbwa, at the cost of living has gone high. The cost of living is a global challenge because of the war of Ukraine. And that is what exactly he said. And the same way you are upset is the same way we are upset. Why is he fooling us when in the last regime, he said the cost of living had gone high because of the war of Ukraine? What changed now when Ruto came into power? That is the question.
Let me add that Raila Amolo Odinga whipped his MPs to pass the 16% VAT during Uhuru Kenyatta's handshake regime. And they accepted the increase of fuel. They accepted. It is Uhuru Kenyatta, listen, it is Uhuru Kenyatta who reduced VAT to 8%. That's why I'm still jogging your mind to tell you that these politicians are just playing around with you.
So you cannot come and tell me that at Uhuru reduced to 8%. It is this power of the people. As Kenyans, tukaenda mpaka Kenya on Twitter, tulisema mafuta ikipanda, we are downing our tools. Doctors will down their tools, nurses will down their tools, teachers will down their tools. Uhuru was given that pressure by 190 on Kenya on Twitter. He had to go back and told the guys, I'm not going to sign this bill. Mpaka murudi back. Then he was told, the only time when we can reduce this amount, it is half of that amount, which is supposed to be 8%. Uhuru went with the pressure ya Wakenya. Na yeye akasaini hiyo kitu. If Uhuru alikataa kusign bill, mbona Ruto hangesign? Si angekosa kusaini ya finance bill. So usini guilt trip. Alafu umeongea history ya Ukraine. Yes, Ukraine kulikuwa na vita, lakini ilikuwa the entire year. Haikuwa the entire year. So you people, you should understand. Ukraine hata kama ilikuwa na. So what are you getting from Ukraine? Don't tell me.
Stella, vita ya Ukraine na Russia bado inaendelea.
Kidogo. I know venye ship inaendaga. So what are we getting from Ukraine in Africa? And don't say oil. Tell us. Mzalendo, I'm listening to you. I'm waiting for you to respond.
We get a lot of grains from Russia.
No, what are we getting from Ukraine?
Do you know what we get from Russia?
I know what we get from Russia.
So
what are we getting from Ukraine and Russia? No, what were we getting from Ukraine?
You know, this is what happens when there is a war in a country. The transportation of grains, things like fertilizer, you see, those things are delayed. Whether they are donations or not, they are delayed. The mode of transport of fuel inakuja na meli. So the route the oil marketers choose, they avoid the path of war. That is what brings the cost of fuel high, because there are so many factors. There are so many factors apart from middlemen, apart from the war.
Energy bill nitakwambia. Mafuta Kenya, it is more expensive than Uganda.
Unajua,
it's more expensive than
skiza, wacha nikupatie nisia tu dakika moja tu pia wewe. Wewe pia sikia tu dakika moja.
Nakusikia.
Kuna kama wewe ni mfanyabiashara, kama wewe vile unakuwa mfanyabiashara. Kuna umetoka unataka kupeleka kitu Uganda. Na kuna vita pale Eldoret. Kuna vita kali sana pale Eldoret. Na umezoea kupeleka mahindi yako Uganda na hiyo barabara Uganda Eldoret Road. Umezoea kupeleka mahindi yako pale ya Kampala kupitia kuenda Kampala. You have to now seek an alternative route. Hii mahindi yako vile ulikuwa unapeleka, kama ilikuwa ni 6,000 ama 10,000 ikifika Kampala, lazima uongeze bei ndio, kwa sababu umepitia Tanzania ndio ufike kule Uganda. Najaribu kukuelezea vile bei ya mafuta inafanya. Bei ya mafuta iko hivyo. Yeah, so ukiona saa zingine kama kuna vita mahali, na pia kuna kitu inaitwa hoarding. Watu pia take advantage of the war. Kama hao the oil producing countries, they know that Africa is struggling and they need this product. So let us hold it. Tuone bei ya dola ikipanda juu ndio tuanze kuuza. Ni biashara, people are doing business. They are in business. So as much as you are uncomfortable, the other people gaining from the war. War is business. So it will affect people like countries like Kenya, other countries that don't have the product, and they depend on other countries as a transit point for oil.
Can I say something very quick?
Mzalendo,
yeah.
Come back home. Let's leave that story. We start from Mombasa. When that ship inamwaga mafuta hapo nini, refinery. Hapo ndio tunataka kuargue na wewe. Kenya Rebel, you can continue.
Email imepitia wapi ndio ikuje mpaka
Imepitia Baltic Sea. Hakuna shida.
Mzalendo.
Imepitia Baltic Sea. Mimi
Mzalendo.
nitajaribu kukunini. Mimi I'm telling you, you come home. Wachana na Baltic Sea, umetoka Indian Ocean, umeshafika Mombasa. Now I want we calculate your pesa. You tell me scientifically ama economically why Kenyan of nini mafuta is more expensive than Uganda and Tanzania. And less than with 12 shillings. I need to understand the mathematics of that.
Kenya Rebel tried to explain to you in a bit. He told you your representatives in parliament are not asking the right questions. You know, when it comes to when it comes to the cost of living, it is just a bill in parliament that can be bipartisan. You force a bill in parliament that can reduce the cost of unga, that can reduce the cost of mafuta to a certain degree. If it is passed in parliament, it becomes law.
What I wanted to say is, on both sides, Ruto and Kenyatta, the reason ati bei ya mafuta sijui ilienda juu kwa sababu ya vita Russia, it's a poor excuse.
Thank you.
On both of them, it's a poor excuse. Russia fighting with Ukraine. Actually, Russia were being sanctioned by the US. Russia is an oil-producing country. So the sanctions was basically making Germany, Poland, most of these, Spain, they were being prohibited from buying gas from Russia. But Russia was still selling that mafuta to India, China, you know. So that really has nothing to do with Kenya, you know.
Thank you.
Ruto and Uhuru are using that as an excuse. If you listen closely, and I usually tell people this, that the reason why, part of the reason why is because these leaders are puppets. Nania Lecherigel was talking on Spice FM and he said that IMF recommended to them, the government of Kenya, that they should not subsidize mafuta, bei ya mafuta, na bei ya chakula. You see? Because the food is there. The government, all they have to do to bring the cost of living down is subsidize mafuta. Sema, okay, instead of us paying 8%, tutaileta chini, government, we shall buy it and sell it to people like for, you know, whatever, cheap.
The oil
you know,
marketers.
that's exactly. Thank you. So that can be done, but it's not being done because Kenya has to be, we are tumeshikwa na IMF namna hii. Both this government, na the government ya Uhuru pia. Why? Because we owe IMF a lot of money. That's part of things that that happen when you owe IMF money. That's why unaona yule, that's why you see the person who was in huyu military leader of Niger, vile alipata, yeah, aliingia akasema IMF, the first thing he did was kick out IMF. Akasema tutaki pesa yenu, we don't want to have hiyo shida yenu, okay? So hii mambo ya cost of living, Ruto can do something about it now,
it
today.
Can be done.
Today.
It can be done.
Today.
And these people, they are trying to tell me it cannot be done. This is the thing.
No, I think
your camera. Mzalendo, your camera.
Okay, Mise naona Mise anataka kuongea. Mise endelea.
Hapana, wacha hata before Mise aongee. Nataka kuambia Mise na Mzalendo, mafuta yetu inaweza kuwa reduced on two things. Vitu zitolewe. There is something inaitagwa bill of landing. I don't understand why you're giving the bill of landing. Hiyo mafuta inakujaga na meli. Na out of that hiyo mafuta, taxpayers money itakuja ilipe hiyo mafuta iingie. Any oil marketer mwenye anatakiwa alete hiyo mafuta, he's supposed to carry the burden of exercise duty. I don't understand why me as a person who's driving the car, ninalipa exercise duty ya 18 shillings. It does not make any sense. So the cost of living can be reduced starting with fuel. Number two, the cost of living inaweza kuwa reduced na story ya stima. They decide kama watakupatia watu token, they should remove those nonsense ziko katikati. Kama unanunua token ya 500, you need to have at least 100 units and above. But the thing is, every time when you buy token, everything in a 1 unit. That's why you're seeing factories are going now on green energy. Now, green energy imetuma Kenya Power ikuwe broke because hawezi uza stima in bulk because people walikuwa nasema, listen, mimi as long as ninunue solar panels na kuko na jua and I can get wind, I can able to produce my own power. The thing is, the cost of living can be done, and it is very possible to be done because we don't need a hungry nation. If you have a hungry nation, how do you collect taxes? Watu watakuwa wameshakufa juu ya njaa. Mzalendo fungue hiyo kamera juu ninakuona unajificha hapo.
But Stella, Kenya Rebel, I just wanted to correct something before Stella gives you a lot of praises, because we were just you, Stella, myself, Mzalendo, and you are all agreeing that the excuse the government of government of Uhuru Muigai and Raila gave about the hiking of the cost of living was not, it didn't make sense. You know, we all agree with that. But it was the same Raila who told the Kenyan citizen that wanapeka kama umbwa and the cost of living is high all over the world. Okay?
Don't use that excuse again.
We are telling
that
him
thing
today,
is irritating me and Wanjigo and the
Stella,
others.
listen. We are telling Raila Amolo Odinga he should not be double standard. He should have faced the reality that the war in Ukraine had nothing to do with us. And if it had something to do with the global, because Ukraine and Russia do not just supply oil to Kenya alone, it does to other countries. And if that was the impact, that impact would have been felt all over. The other thing that you guys have talked about, the cost of living. The cost of living is high everywhere, even in North America. The cost of living equal due. But to me, the way I'm looking at it, the difference is, if you're in North America, the cost of living si ati imerudi chini, iko juu. Lakini the difference is you have an alternative that unaweza amka upate kazi ufanye, watoe hiyo pesa yao yenye wanatoa, kama ni taxes ziko juu wakate, but bado utabaki na kitu ya kula na utapata kazi ya kwenda. Then that's why I'm asking, why isn't our government creating jobs? Why isn't our government looking for ways to fight corruption so that ile pesa yote ina generate can be pumped into more jobs and everyone will get something and will be in a position to afford to pay for taxes and other cost of living. So to me, I'm looking at corruption as the greatest impediment of development in our country, and no one is willing to talk about it.
No problem. I understand that the issue of corruption is there. Me, the issue is it's the leaders who we have here. Now, if you people, you can remember, during the past regime for Uhuru and Raila, kulikuwa na historia the dollar. So the dollar ilikuwa inachezanga between 120, 125, 120, 125. For those 3 years, ilikuwa inacheza hivyo. Now, wakati tumekuja kwa regime ya Ruto, I think the dollar started disappearing the time after, I think it was November, when the central bank walisema that there is a scarcity of dollars in Kenya, and that's why we are unable to get importation. I remember there's a time when there was a big crisis of getting even mafuta ya kupika, this cooking oil. This cooking oil, kumbe kulikuwa na watu wana hold dollars. And the people who are holding dollars ni hao watu wanaitwa KNTC, Kenya National Trading Corporation. They were told by a certain politician, musirelease your pesa mpaka niwaambie. Now, what was so surprisingly, Moses Kuria and his other people brought that mafuta without duty free. They did not pay even the taxes. We lost about 6.2 billion. Now, The thing is, this Kenya Kwanza issue, me inanikula kwa sababu, for one, they are the ones who increased the cost of living. They added unnecessary taxes. These unnecessary taxes, we cannot even have investors kukuja huku to invest because we have our tax laws are very harsh. They are very harsh. Even you can see right now, we have 4 factories, surprisingly, this year, hata mwaka ijaisha, they've closed. Wengine wameenda UG, wengine wameenda Tanzania, na wengine wameenda Ethiopia. Kazi yao tu watakuwa wanafanyanga production, hapa ni packaging. Why our tax laws are so rampant, even no one can operate business. Number 2, I remember there's a time when we had spoken with Mzalendo about having these companies being revived. Everybody was against me. If people like Mumias, and they are the ones or the guys who are the largest taxpayers to date, your company, it is a skeleton. We had Pan Paper, we had Kikomi, we had Kenya Nuts Industry, we had even some EPZ in Machakos. Those EPZ zimefungwa. Now they were supported by AGOA. So there is something wrong with Kenya Kwanza. Either wanataka kukula, like the way Gedongo alikuwa anasema, it is their time to eat. Alafu watu wache bila kitu. But sisi, Wanjiko, there is one thing yenye tunaogopa. When you air your business, you go and air, you go and tell them, you go and advise the guys at the government, because of most of the time ukiangalia kwa gazeti, expression of interest, giving us implementation, how to subsidize XYZ. Those things we write 220 pages, no one listens to us. So there's something wrong with Kenya Kwanza. And that is what I'm trying to say, that Kenya Kwanza, the only way they can make a Wanjiko to be happy, reduce those taxes. And listen, me, in fact, I don't want them to listen to me or listen to whatever. It is Ruto to listen watu kwa ground. Asikie kenye inafanyika. That is the only thing I can say.
Zelenda, I want to excuse myself, but Stella, I think that is a very good concern. I just wanted to make a few.
Mzalendo ametoroka, si amekataa kujibu swali zenye nilikuwa
Ako hapa sasa.
Mimi niko na wewe mpaka niko na wewe. Niko na wewe ni ile tu.
Acha hiyo Ukraine unaiongea. Nataka tukae hapa chini tuhesabu pesa ya mafuta.
Yeah. So
wacha tuone
mafuta yetu yezi kuwa inaenda so.
Wacha tuone.
We can pay for our fuel is 150.
So
and this is V-Power.
Yeah. No, me, I want to leave because I have other engagements, but I just wanted to say, Mary, Stella, I've really liked your passion. You know, that people like you and people who spend their time to come here and talk about our country. These are the true patriots of our country. Because in one way or the other, we are giving indirectly to our country by highlighting the challenges that and providing suggestions to the solutions of the problems that we are facing. But I just wanted to make one appeal to you, Stella, my brother Mzalendo, that we now need to move away from Kenya Kwanza and Azimio and focus on the issues that affect both of us. Because when we are inclined to one party or to one faction, political faction, then it kind of makes us being biased. We can't see things from a clear lens because we are already compromised to think that the party that I subscribe to is the one that is right. And like Kenya Rebel and yourself, Stella and Mzalendo and Leo, all of us have agreed that our leaders are not sincere to us. and they are playing with us. And at the end of the day, for them, they will meet for a cup of tea. They will they will share opportunities that that we do not have access to. The issue of police necessitating police brutality. These are issues that we have seen that innocent people die, and at the end of the day, nobody takes care of their families, and they are left to languish into poverty and other challenges that accompany the absence of one family member. So, what I'm saying, what we need to try and do is to be sober, and where Ruto is wrong, we call him out. Where Raila is wrong, we call him out. Where other people, the key leaders that we look up to, we should be able to criticize them equally, because of what they are not doing right, and what they are doing wrong equally. By so doing, we will have a moving forward country, as opposed to us being divided on the grounds of the parties that we support. I think I just wanted to say that Stella will be. I've really enjoyed listening to you, and I've learned a lot from you. And I'm looking forward to be engaging more with you and the rest of the panelists here. And I want to thank Leo and Mzalendo for creating this time so that we can come here and learn from one another. I want to, unless you have a question for me, I want to excuse myself. But it has been amazing to be here, and I'm looking forward to continue being here, so that I can learn more from you, Leo and Zalendo, because this is a learning process, day in, day out. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mise. We really appreciate your being part of the show, and we hope to see you in the next broadcast. Otherwise, you've been a very resourceful as usual. So next show will be tomorrow. Hopefully, Leo will be. Leo, you're holding. You're playing something. Leo,
Sorry?
you are
Sorry
playing
for
something.
interruption. I think it was.
Are you playing something? Oh
No,
yeah,
it's there.
now
I'll
you're
play
better.
it. I'll play it later.
Oh, now you're better.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Right. Okay, let me just maybe play it for you then. Tunaweza ichangia wakati tunaenda tukifunga. I think it was great having today session, and hoping that tomorrow will be better and the days after tomorrow, and we'll keep it here. So maybe I can just play it for you, then uweze kujibu Stella vizuri.
Yeah,
Na
play it.
pengine kama tuna maswali tutakurushia.
How is not playing? Kuna shida ama nini? Okay, as it plays on the background. I need to play it from my end?
People going on the streets.
I think you have stable
It's the
internet.
issue of finding a sustainable solution to this problem.
No.
Repeat again.
No, just don't repeat it. Maybe it's playing
Okay,
badly.
it's okay.
What Raila was saying?
Mzalendo, I think you'll play it.
I can play it
You'll
from
play
my
it
end.
later, but you can just give the message is clear.
Yeah, Raila was saying that people should not demonstrate because of the cost of living. That is what he was saying. That is sometimes when we jog your mind back, that is what our politicians say. But it is not necessary to demonstrate on the cost of living, and especially where we depend on rain, for our agriculture. Right now, we are having a bumper harvest. The issue, are you hearing the issue of cost of maize again in Kenya? No, the issue has been overtaken by events because we have harvested our maize and people are eating properly in the village and everywhere else in town. So if you didn't go to the farm, Stella, stop nodding your head. Stop nodding your head. It is not the work of the
I will
government.
nod my head.
Zalendo, I just
nod
want to
my
disagree
head.
with you and support
Yeah.
Stella in this way. We are having
Leo,
bumper
let me
harvest.
answer. Leo, let me answer.
Yes. Okay.
That clip nani amecheza ni ya which year?
Okay. Let me just clarify on the clip.
The clip which you've already shared. Which year was
Just
it?
a minute, Stella. I'll clarify on the clip.
Please clarify.
Zalendo is not being truthful with the clip. The clip is where Raila is saying
there is
that,
one thing. There's one thing I really need to tell Mzalendo. We are living in a global sphere. Remember, kuko na kitu inaitango global trends. We've been not having continuous rain like the way it was raining 10 to 5 years ago. We are not having the normal pattern rains because of global warming. So, Mzalendo, don't come and tell me story ati kuko na bumper harvest. There is no bumper harvest. I will tell you, watu wanalima wanaepeleka chakula kwa nyumba. Because hiyo mahindi yenye unasema kumekuwa na cartels wana import mahindi from our neighboring Uganda. Shame on us. Our neighboring Sudan, they're the ones who are supplying us with sugar. Our neighboring country Tanzania, they're the ones who are to supply na vitungu, na garlic, na kila kitu. Then we go back, we go to the one of the countries to supply, and it was one of the poorest African countries. It is Malawi. Malawi is supplying us with rice and maize. So, Mzalendo, don't come and tell us here, me as Kenya, as Stella, as a farmer in Rift Valley. My dad has almost like 600 acres. Hakuna mahindi memea hapo. Ninakwambia mahindi hata sahi, hata mimi if I go I harvest. Niene nikausha kwa barabara nipeleke National Cereal Board. Haitanunuliwa. Nitaambia hapana, silo zimejaa. Enda nayo nyumbani. Nitabaki nikipatia nini hiyo mahindi? Nitapatia ng'ombe na nipatie kuku na nipatie kila kitu. So don't come and tell us ati hapa kuko na bumper harvest. 75% ya chakula huku Kenya, all of it inakuwa imported. Mpaka mchele, which is a big shame. And yet we have rice fields at Mwea, where even that rice field in Mwea, it cannot even sustain half of Nairobi because of poor rain patterns. Then it has been so expensive. Even a farmer cannot farm because expensive tools, expensive fertilizers, kuna kuchukua manpower. Mtu ulikuwa unalipanga kwa futi ulikuwa unamulipa 100, siku hizo wanaitishaga 400 ama 500. Because hiyo 100 ukimpe hata hezi nunua mboga. Lazima aende akule ugali. So don't come and tell me kuko na bumper harvest. Bumper harvest gani? Mahindi saa hii tunajua iko kwa maji inakuja hapa Kenya. And I'm telling you, hiyo mahindi itakuja, millers wataambiwa these are the cost. Nao wachukue wasema ni sawa, instead ianze kuozea huko. Wasiage, then they start distributing to their distributors. Then distributors, they put up their markup. Ugali itafika hapo 270. So what are you trying to tell me ati kuko na bumper harvest? Kama kungekuwa na bumper harvest, we could have known a year ago. But right now, hakuna chakula inakuja. We are importing literally everything. Mpaka sukari. Hata ukicheza sana, tuna import mpaka chumvi. So what I'm telling you, Mzalendo, even right now, people like EABL, they've lost 3 billion in profits. Kwa sababu pombe haikunywi. Kwa nini? Taxes and barley cannot be bought because if the farmers wameambiwa na EABL, the way we are buying barley 2 years ago, it is the same cost. What will the farmer do? Atarudi na lori nayo wapi? Narok, aende apatie hiyo bale venye atafanya. Because right now you cannot even do business with government. You cannot do business hata sokoni. Ile nyanya tulikuwa tunanunuaga hivi 5 bob, siku hizi ni 20 bob. Watu wa mkokoteni wameizungusha huku mpaka wanamwaga. Things like viazi huku kasuku enye tulikuwa tunanunuanga 50 bob, saa hii ni so mbili. So what are you trying to tell me, mzalendo, that there is a bumper harvest? You must be joking. You should come to Kenya and understand what people are eating in the houses. Nakwambia, people have dropped out kukula ugali, wakule viazi na wakule ndoma, or they miss that meal, wakule chapati, because hata unga ya ngano haina heshima kama ya nini, haina heshima kama ya unga ya mahindi. Yeah. So don't try and tell us that there is a bumper harvest. There has been no rain for the last 3-4 years. Huku nini Kenya kulikuanga na ukame. Yeah? Kama ukame unaweza isikia ikiwa Rift Valley, na mvua hata ikuji na ile pattern yake, it tells you there is something wrong. So don't tell us here there is a bumper harvest. The thing is, our government misappropriated funds ya kutengeneza dump. Wakati ile mvua ilikuwa inanyesha El Nino, hizo dams zingekuwa zikijaa akina Kimwerel, na hiyo ingine ilikuwa inaitagwa aje, there is that 2 dams which inasikia iko na corruption. Mvua yenye ilikuwa inanyeshanga huko Turkana, wangekuwa wametengeneza dams and wells. Now we are dealing with Golalo Kulalu. Investors walitoroka. Then you're telling me kuko na bumper harvest. Hakuna bumper harvest, mzalendo. Tungejua hiyo kitu 3 years ago. I am a farmer. I know it. Yes, I work in an office, but at home niko na hustle yangu ya farming. So, hata mimi kupanda mahindi siku hizi ni ngumu. Heri nipande viazi ama nipande mboga. In my 4-acre farm, I panda. Because nikipanda mahindi, siwezi ngoja ikauke. Juu najua cereal board hawatanunua. Juu wataletewa mahindi kutoka huko na kina Moses Kuria. Inapitishwa na lori huku. Inaenda mpaka cereal board. Then wanaita goje millers. Wanaenda wanagongewa nyundo. And it is an auction. Wanaenda wanagongewa nyundo. Mahindi tunauza hivi. What are they going to do? They won't close their milling. Watachukua tu. Na wao waseme, wacha to struggle na shilingi 2, shilingi 3. But the one who is getting a profit, it is the cartel mwenye analeta your mahindi. So don't try and tell us that kuko na bumper harvest. There is no rain. The rain, even you should understand. You're in America. You know there is something wrong with the world. There is global warming everywhere. There are no correct rain patterns. Every time ukipanda kwa hii season, mbegu inachomeka. Una expect August kutanyesha short rain. Haikuji, inakuja April. So, mzalendo, we know what we are talking about. So that's why I'm telling you. Hii maneno ya kutuambia hapa ati maneno ya bumper harvest. Hakuna. And yet na hiyo mahindi yenye tunapewa. Hiyo mahindi yenye tunanunua, we buy even in a very minimal cost. But the cartel akishika hiyo ship, ikuja mpaka idok Kilindini. Then wamwaga hiyo mahindi. It is a hell on us in Kenya. We cannot afford to buy. Mtu mpaka anapikia watoto chapati wanakula kuanzia Monday mpaka Monday. Because they cannot afford kununua unga ya ugali. It is too expensive. Anyway, that's my submission. Leo, support me on that.
Okay, this is what I wanted to say in regards to that, because what Raila said there was that we can have some solutions. He did not say that, he did not mean that we should not demonstrate. He said we can have solutions. And right now, people are demonstrating because the government has failed to come up with solutions. When you talk about bumper harvest, there's one thing that we need to know. In this bumper harvest, what was the cost of production? Because you cannot tell me because I've harvested 2 bags of maize, I'm supposed to sell it at 50 shillings, yet I used a lot of money to produce this maize. So that is something that we need to know. The price of unga will not go down because no farmer will start selling his maize at 50 shillings. He has to recover the cost that he used in producing this maize. So the policies that we're having are not encouraging people. There's no way Ruto is going to tell you that, okay, there's bumper harvest, if fertilizer wanasema haijawahi onekana, then at the same time they're opening them. They're telling you that we're having bumper harvest, and they're also telling you that we've allowed people to import some sugar, rice, and whatever for the next 6 months. So does it make sense?
So
So when it comes to food,
if you see last
we
week,
just need some solution.
Last week when you saw on the Business Daily, you saw there was a list of those people, and even there's a gazetteman, I think even I can pull it. There are people who have been given the green light to import sugar, not less than 2,000 metric tons. There are people who have been given a green light to import mahindi na mchele. So, ebu nikuulize, hiyo chakula unajua ikimportiwa, kazi yao tu ni kupackage. Hakuna tingatinga ilikanyanga shamba, na hakuna mtu alienda akalima, nini whatever. Na unajua the cost of packaging, it is cheaper than having that production ikikuwa hapa Kenya. Because for one, tingatinga ikiingia lazima itumie diesel. Diesel silipanda. Aya, usisahau mwenye anaendesha hiyo tingatinga ni binadamu, anatakiwa alipwe. Si ndio? Haya, kuko na hiyo fertilizer imekuja. Na unajua ukilima kwa shamba, if you live in Rift Valley ama you have a big whatever, unatakiwa uwe na tingatinga inakuja safari 4 ama 5. Because for one, ita till, then the second one in a harrow. Remember per day, those days, I remember when I was paying, it was 7,000 a day. Na huyo atakuwa ameshagonga kama eka tatu. Right now, kuchukua tingatinga isimame ni 12,000 na hakuna kupembeleza. Then nani mzalendo anatuambia hapa kuko na bumper harvest. Ya wapi? Hakuna bumper harvest. We'd rather even have that food ikuje hapa, hata kama ni gava ita subsidize. They repackage that food, alafu andike government of Kenya. Mwenye anataka kuja azitoe, azirepackage, tusinunue unga more than 150.
Well said, Stella. That's why sometimes I like debating you, because you are a farmer. You've got an insight of farming. So you have enlightened us a bit about farming. But what I can inform you is that when you see government putting out a tender for people to come in and meet the deficit of food production, it means that we are not producing enough. This government has been only there for 1 year, and I believe that there are some measures that they are putting so that we can have food security. We all agree that there's been global warming, and before global warming throughout the world. After global warming, no, global warming is continuous. We had COVID that hit many parts of the world and really impacted the economy of most countries, including farming. We didn't farm the way we used to farm. Movement was restricted, and we could not sell our produce the way we used to sell them. So by and large, I think the government is doing what it should do to ensure that we have food security. Leo, people who planted during their long rains in February have harvested their maize. If you call your village or you go to your village right now, you'll find that a tin of maize is going for maybe 100. Other places are 120. A few months ago, I called home, it was going for 80 shillings. County governments have decided to buy the maize, to buy the harvest. It means that they are buying from the farmers so that they can avoid the exploitation from other people who are coming in to buy the produce. So when Stella is saying that people have not harvested, people have not had a bumper harvest, in some regions, yes, they've had a good season. In areas where I come from, they have had a very good season, to an extent that the county government is coming to buy the maize so that they avoid the middlemen who are coming to purchase the maize at a lower price. So I don't know which part of the country you live in, but where I come from, we have harvested our maize. The farmers are selling it, and it is going for 100 and between 100 to 80 shillings. And to an extent, agorogoro is going for the most expensive now is about 120. So things are improving. If you go back maybe 5 months ago, 6 months ago, the same tin you would find it for 250. So now it is 120. It means the farmers have done a good job and they have harvested their crops. The county government has even stepped in, saying that, okay, fine, you guys have done the farming. We don't want people to exploit you from other regions. Let us buy your maize. So we are on the right track. If you see government wakiagiza sukari and things like that, it means that whatever we are producing in the farms as sugarcane is not enough for the population in the country. So that deficit is what the government allows politicians or other business people to bring into the country. But of course, corruption is always there in our country. So people do use those loopholes to bring excess of this produce. So I know we are doing well. We are doing so well in terms of food security, and in the next few years, issue of food will be a thing of the past. So Stella, I hope I answered your question, or I attempted to answer your question.
You've already answered.
I've already answered. Leo is telling me, yes, we can wind up the show for tonight. We have had a wonderful time. Maybe I can just say that thank you, Leo, for allowing us to be part of your panel this evening. We hope to see you again tomorrow. It has been a very, very good debate, although we veered off to some extent, but our viewers has learned something new. I've learned something about farming from Stella as usual. So Stella, thank you very much for the knowledge that you keep on pouring for the general public. And Leo, asante sana for allowing me to be part of the show. And the panelist, Eric Ojuang, Erokamano, thank you for the comments. I am in touch with the village. I am in touch with everybody. The world now is flat. It is no longer round. I can call you in a second, wherever you are in any part of the world. And the internet we have got also access to the internet. So we have information of what is happening throughout the world, including the weather. So thank you, Eric. So we are informed and we are in touch of the ground. That is why we speak here with authority of what we know. Otherwise, asante sana.
Thank you so much, Mzalendo. I do appreciate, I think, for just having spared your time so that we can be able to discuss matters of our country. It's really grateful. And to Stella, I really appreciate your knowledge when it comes to matter of farming. It's really good when you debate somebody with some background information rather than having some propaganda and things that cannot be substantiated. So you make it easy for people who've never stepped in the farms to understand what is really there, so that next time when you see Zakai on top of the car telling them how there's bumper harvest, they'll be able to relate and know these are lives. How I wish my people could have gotten this message before it would have determined or maybe modified the way they would have voted. So it's really a great moment, and I know tomorrow we'll also have another show, and we'll always try to make it better each and every day. To those people who manage to watch and to comment and also to invite their friends, tell them that tomorrow, let them not miss. I will always be here, same time, same place. Eric Ojuang, asante sana. Tumemwona Stephen Komu, hata kama umekuja umechelewa, tuko unaweza ona replay, alafu kesho uhakikishe kuwa tutakuwa hapa kuanzia saa 3 usiku, that is East African time, tumekuwa na cornerstone Els have really been updating and chatting on the chat box. I don't know why people have stayed away from the chat box, but moving on, I know we'll get it back and we'll be able to discuss as Kenyans kubadilisha nchi yetu. I doesn't mind hata kama ni wawili watatu, lakini mwishowe tunaweza kubadilisha. It is the little things that we do here that is going to change this country, and we are going to ensure that everybody is informed, and once you are informed, the same way the Bible says, my people because they lack knowledge. So if we can be able to give them that knowledge forward. So on behalf of the panel,
Leo, the glitches are letting you down. Stella, maybe you can just wind up. Leo has really hung up.
Oh, okay. I think he's back.
Leo, are you back? No, he's frozen.
Anyway, I've enjoyed the talk. So we can see each other tomorrow. And thank you for those guys who've commented and participated in the chat box. Let's see each other tomorrow so we can have another what do you call, another hot talk.
All right, I think we are done today. For the show today, Stephen Como, asante sana. Eric, asante sana once again. Cornerstone, kama kawaida, you've always been, backing us up in the chat section. We love your insight on the issue. Bashir Chelagat, you are here with us earlier. You didn't continue with the comment, but we needed to follow up the show and know where we are coming from with this kind of conversation. Favor, Kenyans are full of burdened by KK government. I agree with you. Kenyans are overburdened by the taxes. Stella also concurs with you that we are overburdened and there is need. And that's why we talk here. You'd be surprised that the issues that we talk about here are implemented in parliament. We don't only stop here. We contact the legislators and see whether they can do some changes and reduce the taxes. So that's why we have this conversation on a daily basis. Sometimes we are off. When there is an issue, we'll keep you posted. You have been such a wonderful company, guys, on the chat box. And our viewers outside there, you are the guys who are keeping the show going. And sure that you subscribe to True TV 24. Go to YouTube and subscribe to True TV 24. We are also on Leo TV. Leo will be bringing you talk shows that are one-on-one on this particular channel. We also want you to continue subscribing to Mtembei TV. That is the platform that we air our political views and anything that is pressing. If you are a listener or a viewer out there and you want to participate in this particular show, please just holler, tupigie simu, to ingia kwa mtandao, utuambie if you've got something that you want to share, if you've got an idea that can help the youths outside there, then come to the show, talk about it. This platform is viewed by over 20 million people. So come and share your view. We will ensure that the message is taken out there. So don't shy away. I've been your host or part of the panelists, Mzalendo, and Leo. Mise left a bit earlier. Thank you, Mise, for being part of the show. And the one and only Eli, the author, was also here at some point, but today he was a bit engaged. So tomorrow we hope to see him. Thank you. ladies and gentlemen, we have to close the show right now and see you tomorrow. Asanteni sana na mbarikiwe.